Hey guys, welcome
So
to
loud.
another day in the Confidence Coaching Week. We are so happy to have you back. It's been an awesome week so far. Is this the third day? We are on
Hi,
hump day
Patsy.
of the.
Yes, Wendy,
We'll give everybody a
Charlene,
moment to hop on here for a
Robert.
second.
Robert, you've got to stop breaking my concentration. I get all these good thoughts, and then I look at the comments, and Robert's like, sing a song. Are you ready? Are you ready? Right? Okay, so Robert and Robert has been my talking overnight. They're asking something, and just sing the song. Sing the song that goes with the show tonight. So, ready?
It's down underwater again.
No. Why? Why, Wendy? Why? It is just the regular computer. I took down all. So somebody told me it's because all of my tabs were up.
Maybe you can go in the settings like you did yesterday.
Okay, let's go to settings. And let's go to audio. It sounds back to normal now. What in the absolute world? Echo cancellation is on. Sounds better. It's if you're really close, you're good.
Okay, again.
Okay. Are we better? Are we good?
Hair.
It comes and goes, loud and clear. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right, so as Robert promised, are you ready? We've been practicing Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
Ready? A winga wop, a winga wop. No, we practiced this.
You
didn't pay attention?
It's not the song.
Oh.
It's a different song.
I've been singing 2 songs all day, haven't I? It's fine. It's okay. We'll practice better for tomorrow night. But in the jungle. Whoops. Hakuna Matata.
What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata is our quote for today because so much of what we do is just got to be Hakuna Matata. And I feel like it is this way with no matter what you're trying to improve at in life. If you don't come with that Hakuna Matata mentality and you could just accept the good with the bad, we were discussing like some of the hang-ups of trying to take horsemanship from a world-class level and teach it at a world-class level and give people world-class results. And I think the biggest thing are these talks where the idea is you're going to receive this information, you're going to know exactly what to do, and it's going to go seamlessly and flawlessly. But unfortunately, success doesn't happen in a straight line. You got to take the good with the bad, and it's got to be Hakuna Matata. You have to understand, even if you have the right answer and you know exactly what to do, well, that horse might not wake up on the same side of the bed. He might not wake up on the right side of the bed. He might not be ready or willing to accept the message that you're going to bring to him.
And you might have had a bad day.
Right. You
might not have had the best day and bring in the best go-to, let's do this attitude when you get in there.
You might bring that vibe with you from the office that you've had a rough day, and that horse might be on edge because remember, the language of the horse is body language. That's their first language. You can put 20 horses in a round pen and not hear a peep.
So if you walk into the arena and your ears are pinned from your bad day at work, your horse is probably going to have a little bit of like a standoffish vibe because you're carrying over that energy into your round pen work, your arena work, whatever you're working on for the day.
To control the beast underneath you, you've got to control the beast within you first. So if you have that Hakuna Matata type vibe, and if you got that, hey, oh, you threw your head, no big deal, flex again. Oh, you want to walk off, no big deal, back up again. Oh, you're going too fast, let me put you in a smaller circle. And you're not looking at it like bad behavior. You're looking at it at horse behavior, and you're just trying to curve that behavior. Everything changes. We were just out there working with an amazing Mustang trainer doing some Liberty. And one of the things that she said, which was a huge epiphany for me, not today, but I found it a couple years ago, was every time in Liberty that the horse runs off, which is a Liberty's person.
What does Hakuna Matata mean?
What is Hakuna Matata? It means no worries.
For the rest of your days.
It's a problem-free
philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
Another song.
No, I skipped key. I want to do that vocal.
No, that's the different song.
I know. It's the lion sleeps tonight. It's fine. It's okay. That's tomorrow.
All right, guys.
Tomorrow.
So the epiphany was this. In Liberty, all you have is your body language and your draw. Liberty is off-leash obedience. And the biggest fear of a Liberty performer or trainer is that the horse runs off. when you change your mentality of, oh, the worst thing the horse can do is run off. And when they do that, it's just one more opportunity to draw them back to you. Everything changes. Your body changes, your aura changes, the vibe that you're giving the horse changes. And immediately the horse doesn't want to run off anymore. It's the craziest thing. And it's all one little mental switch. And I was the most frustrated Liberty trainer in the world because I was working with hot passos, and my thinking, the doubt was, hey, these horses are too hot. They're not like the people.
They tried to prove you right too.
Yeah. So excuses, results and excuses, they don't live in the same place. So be very careful. Be very careful when you get close to those excuses. Understand, whenever you're getting close to those excuses, results are getting further from you. Okay. So when I was doing Liberty on those hot show horses, on those Pasafinos, and they were running off from me, and I could only keep their attention for a moment or two, and they're gone. Excuses start getting closer to my mind. Oh, it's because they're too hot. Oh, it's because they're show horse. Oh, because it's older. This, that, and the other. And in reality, it was just me. I wasn't coming with that Hakuna Matata.
Our audio is breaking up again.
I wasn't coming with that Hakuna Matata mentality, and it was making them booger off. So
you keep talking. I'm gonna figure it out.
Turn
the
echo thing off
and see if that helps.
Yeah.
Let's see. What in the world? Okay, so we're taking off echo cancellation.
All right, so it's automatically adjusting. Leave it like that and see.
Leave it like this and see.
All right, guys. Can you hear it? It's
better?
Good now. Good job.
Okay.
Joyce said it's good now.
Is it better than what it was, Joyce?
Okay now.
But it's been going in and out. So.
Good. It's better. It's good.
Now. Okay, fine. We're gonna roll with it.
Like I was saying with the Liberty.
Moving too much.
Whenever.
It's your fault.
My fault. Whenever did not have that Hakuna Matata mentality when it came to Liberty, and I was coming up with all these excuses, the horses were running off. One thing changed in my mind one day that I realized, the worst thing that can happen is they run off, and it's just one more opportunity to bring them back. When that changed, everything changed. And then I got to the point, just a couple months later, I was performing for the first time in front of a sold-out crowd in Dark House with a Liberty horse, which is by far the most terrifying performance I've ever done. Like, I've started colts in front of sold-out crowds that were wild, that were Mustangs, that were quarter horses, that were warm bloods, way less terrifying than asking my finished trained horse to come out to me by himself in Dark House. That was terrifying because I didn't want to look like a buffoon and have that horse run all around me. But it all worked out.
You did fantastic. It's on YouTube.
Yes.
If you ever get a chance to see Fandango, Michael's little, his special horse that loves him so much, they did a Matador. I'm doing that because I'm trying to make sure Hakuna Matata is in. Yeah. And never give up to her. No, leave it.
Hakuna Matata.
Stay. Anywho, so Michael did an act where he had a Matador Liberty act, and Fandango got to be a bull, and Michael was the bullfighter. And he had a red blanket / what would you call that?
Hole!
a little flaggy thing. And Fandango had his fake horns on, and he would stomp the ground, and he'd paw, and he'd charge Michael, and he'd run around him, and he'd change directions, and he'd buck up in the air, and he'd run back up to Michael and go under his little red flaggy thing, and it was amazing. So the first time that horse got to get out and do Dark House spots, and the thing that people don't realize a lot of times about performances and spotlights is it's very hard to see for the horse, and it's hard to see for the person, especially when you have places where you don't have the greatest lighting to begin with and you start adding in all those special effects. And so for Liberty, it's one thing. Trick riding, I've had a couple moments in my past where it's been kind of like, Jesus, take the reins. I hope that my horse can see where we're going because I'm getting blinded. For Fandango and their Liberty performance, he had to run into this dark arena with lights that would just hit him and find Michael and get that connection and get back in tune with him and make sure that he drew in where he was supposed to. So it was just definitely a once in a lifetime experience to be able to see that and kind of go through that and
it was so sketchy, but
it was not sketchy.
Hakuna Matata,
he did so good.
Oh no, it was perfect, but I was puckered up the whole time.
So one thing, kind of in a mindset shift that Michael had to go through when he was doing this Liberty training, in really with working with any of these problem horses, once you figure out the system, once you figure out what the steps are to fix these issues, and you get comfortable and confident realizing, okay, well, if my horse does this, this is the drill, this is the exercise that I'm supposed to get used to doing. And when there's only 12 of those to begin with, and that's kind of what we use in our Respect series, there's 12 drills that we use for almost everything that we're doing with the horses. And what it turns into is your mind shift goes from please don't do that, I'm worried about this, to I wish you would do this, I wish you would make this mistake so I can help you fix it. And if you go in with that mentality, is I wish you would do the things I don't want you to do so I can work on it. And instead of tiptoeing around the horse and, you know, making a horse that you're always having to act careful around, you're asking that horse to do the things that make you uncomfortable so you can work through those scenarios, work through those situations in a place where the ball's in your court, where you feel more comfortable working through those different exercises and kind of figuring out, okay, well, if my horse paws, if my horse doesn't sit still, if my horse tries to walk off, if my horse is trying to walk too fast, I'm going down the trail, they're constantly trying to catch up with the group, I feel like I'm always having to hold. Buddy sour, barn sour, can't get on for mounting, just all these things that we see every day, all the time. Whenever we have horses come in for training and we get the privilege to have them here for a month, we invite all of these issues. Like, come on, please do the thing that your mom says you're going to do. Do the thing that your mom put in the contract so we can fix it. So that's why we're setting these horses off. We're doing all these craziness. We're doing all these weird things. And it gives us an opportunity to fix that. We literally today, I don't get to get out of the office much right now because we have so much going on with this big program and the confidence coaching and all the things that we're going to talk about a little bit later tonight, that I got to go out. Michael's like, you know what? You should just hop on a horse for a soccer game. And soccer games at the retreat are super fun because we get to play with it. We have a 5-day, 6-night, all-inclusive horse vacation. And on like day 3 or 4, we do a soccer game. So we basically split all the people up. We do teams of 3 or 4. We go into our arena. You have this big soccer ball, and it's basically you have your goals set up. There's not a whole lot of rules. There's really not a whole lot of rules. Sometimes we probably should instill some kind of rules because especially our group of people that have been here like 3 or 4 times or 7 or 8 times, Wendy, Linda, Barb, you get a little aggressive. Things get very intense because everybody loves their soccer game. The soccer games with the training horses are a little bit different. Would you like to explain the different breeds, the different problems and issues of the training horses that we had in our soccer game today? So we had 7. We had 4 versus 3.
A draft horse that broke the trainer's face, split him from top of his head down under his chin. We had a horse that flips over. We have a horse that spooks and bolts. We had a colt start.
We had the horse that broke the young kid's arm.
Yeah, we had an arm breaker.
We had the horse that flipped over backwards on its owner.
I already said that one.
You already did that one? Oh, sorry. Who are we missing? So we had the 2 drafts. The other draft, the draft that runs away and you can't stop it. It'll just run through a fence. Yeah. That's 6. And then number 7, we had one. Yeah. We had Eli in the group. Yeah. And so his issue more than anything is he's really good at arena work. Yeah. He's not so good at things where he can't really control the situation. Eli is kind of like a little micromanager. He likes when he can be in charge of the situation that's going on. When he can't control everything around him, he gets a little bit concerned.
It was a good time.
Yeah. So it's fun when you're comfortable with those kind of things and working through those issues. And at the end of the day, you have to have a goal. And in soccer, the thing that makes it so effective is the only goal is to take your ball and get it to take the ball and get it through the goal on the other side, whatever it takes, come hell or high water.
Are you saying that riding with intention makes a difference?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah. And Michael, I think, mentioned this like a day or 2 ago, is it's funny how we'll get people in, especially in our confidence retreat, which is more geared towards people that have had a confidence issue, that they're trying to recover from something. And they get in there and they come here and they're not real comfortable walking. And then you see them, and by the end of the soccer games, which really aren't supposed to take up a huge chunk of the schedule, they end up taking the entire morning between the pool noodle fights. We do pool noodle jousting, where you just get to beat each other with pool noodles, which is great. And then you play soccer. And by the end of that, you have people that weren't comfortable going forward and asking things out of their horse, and they're kicking and popping and going and cantering and like, whoa, crazy. Like, you don't believe they're the same people.
One singular focus does so much for people. That's why there's so many trainers who do a great job, and their only job is to work cows and push cows, and they really don't have a system. They just keep pointing the horse towards the cow, and the horse along the way learns kind of how to neck rein and move off of legs, but there's not really a system in place. So imagine you put amazing horsemanship, a true understanding of how to speak the language of the horse, and you put on every single task that there's one singular focus. Now, we had an epiphany today. We were riding horses and making videos for you guys and putting different...
Which we're kind of foreshadowing to that. You might get to learn a little bit more about something cool, a little sweet treat that's coming for tomorrow.
We were working horses for you guys and making videos, and I had this epiphany. For any of you musicians out there, the last 40 years, every amazing hit song has the same 4 chords. If you've ever seen a video or a documentary on it, it's pretty amazing. They'll take the same 4 chords of music and just give it different combinations, and it makes all these hit songs, which is amazing, awesome. So all your favorite music has 4 chords that is basically in different directions. The Respect series is the exact same thing. These simple 12 steps. You can't pick a sport, you can't pick a discipline, whether it's reining or dressage or jumping or anything, that doesn't have something to do with the 12 basic steps that we have in our Respect series.
We sat there and tried to think of an exercise. Yeah. Even, out of the 700 videos that are in our membership club, of those videos, what in there isn't just a derivative directly of those beginning exercises?
Right, well, so this is the thing. This is the thing to understand. No matter how advanced you get, advancement is simply doing the basics better. I repeat, getting really advanced with your horsemanship. A pirouette in Grand Prix dressage is simply pivoting as you're cantering. 2 very basic things. Spinning is simply pivoting on the haunches and moving the shoulders. Everything that you can think of. Collection, we're already doing that by backing the horse up crooked and getting the horse off of the bridle. All these things are simply reiterations of basics that you're just advancing. So once you learn the Respect series, once you get the basic foundation, that's why it chaps my backside. Chaps my backside. No, I can't say that. Not PC. It's
PC, PG.
PG.
Don't do it.
Okay, I'm PG.
It
makes me a little uncomfortable.
Michael's a little bit like the red mare that walks into the arena and you ask her to back out of your space, and every day she kind of creeps one further foot forward. She gets closer and closer into your bubble, and you don't notice it because it's just 1 foot at a time. Michael with jokes is kind of like a gateway drug. If you let him have one little bitty joke in there, by the end of this discussion, you will be inside of his head, and I promise you, you do not want to be there.
It bothers me to my core that we're teaching folks how to ride in the basic riding lessons around the world in advanced courses. Somebody's first day in the saddle, and we're talking about a vertical line, and sit up and straight line and poke your chest out and stick your shoulders back and pick your chin up and all these things. No, that's what you do whenever you're going to show. That's what you do whenever you're going to go win a class after you already know how to ride. People should start with the Respect series. People should start with the fundamentals. If your horse doesn't treat you like this from the ground, don't ride. If your horse doesn't back out of your space, don't ride. He doesn't respect you.
There's never been a checklist that says, hey, if you see these signs, do not.
There needs to be. That's our life goal.
Do you know who has one?
That's what we are working for.
Do you know who has one?
I went to do pilot school, and I went to get pilot hours in, and whenever you get into a plane, every single plane in America has a laminated sheet for dummies that says, check this, check that, check this, check that. It's a pre-flight check. And people who have 30 years of experience flying planes still look at the pre-flight check. So it's the exact same thing with your horse. I want you guys to have a pre-flight check.
Do you know
you
who
can
has
laminate it if you want.
Do you know who has one?
Who has one?
We have one.
Oh, we have one? Okay.
Yeah, and I want you guys to all look at Facebook posts, which I will do tomorrow morning, and your email, because I'm going to send that to you. And I want you to look at it and go through it. It just has little check boxes. and figure out which one of these grade levels your horse would fail at. Most of you are going to read it and know right off the bat, without even having to go out and check your horse, without having to go ask these questions. So yeah, I'm going to send that to you. And then, just to sweeten the deal a little bit, I made Michael do a video today. Like I said, I told you a little bit yesterday that we completely re-recorded our Respect series. We haven't done that since 2018. And we've turned this into our Horse Help course, which will be our first foundational 12 steps to fixing any horse problem, any discipline you can imagine. These steps are going to get you on the track to be successful in whatever it is that your horse goal. And so for each of those, for that program, we're doing an example of a gaited horse, a hot horse, a cold horse, a problem horse, a colt start, horses that have never been through our program. So we have people bringing in horses for 3 days. Today we just finished up. We're doing 2 at a time right now. So we did day 1 of one horse, day 2 of the other. And the video, as it started, I was already kind of excited, 1, how it was going, but 2, after seeing that there was interest of what the Respect series is, what those steps are. So tomorrow, this is just, and I'll give all of this in an email, you'll be able to see it. We're going to let you watch that live with us. So we've already videoed the one that we just did. We're going to release that on our YouTube channel as what we call a premiere. Every Friday for the last month and a half, at 7 o'clock on Fridays, we've been doing a virtual clinic, a free virtual clinic. And what you do is you watch the video with us. You can ask questions as we go. I'll be in the comments with you. Michael will be in the comments with you. And it's going to take you through those first 12 steps of our Respect series with this horse that's never been through that. And my favorite part about this video today is at the end of the day, whether we're videoing or we're not videoing, we want to be in the best interest of the horse and the most that we can do for the horse in that time period. And as long as the horse isn't sweaty, that's one thing that Michael's big about in his program. It's hot here, so everything sweats a little bit. But he's not going to work a horse if they get to the point where they're sweating because they have exerted too much mental energy or physical energy. The horse is not going to be learning. If he feels like that horse is hot to the point that they're not going to take in information, he's going to find a good stopping point and he's going to come back with that horse and not continue on. So at the end of these 12 grades, the horse had done passing, but in the beginning, passing can be a D, right? Michael understands this. He spent a lot of time in high school at the local high school. And so when we first start out,
I didn't spend more time than the average person. Only a few extra years.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I got 16 years out of a 12th
minor
grade.
Minor details. Anywho, so the thing about it was when we finished that and we were getting ready to sign off, the horse still had a few issues. The horse still wanted to walk off. We had just done. So the last grade in our Respect series is speed transitions, where we're going to ask them to go fast and work through resistance. And then after that, once the horse passed that grade level, ideally at the end of the day, we want them to be quiet. You want them to be listening a little bit better. And that horse was still a little amped up. So I said, Michael, I know you just signed off, but let's go ahead and show them right now while we're doing the video currently. Let's show them exactly what grade we're going to go back to turn that off switch. So this horse went from, he had just finished it was really going soft and easy. We did speed transitions. We amped it up. We got the answers we wanted, but the horse didn't want to sit as quiet as we would like them to after we finished for Michael to sign off of the video. Antsy, throwing his head, a little uncomfortable here or there, just acting like, oh my gosh. And so what we did is I said, spend 3 minutes, give us a video of what you're going to do to address this problem right now. And he did. And that horse went from acting a fool, still, following the Respect series, getting the answers we wanted, but still just that D-level passing just wasn't enough for us today. And I said, show them what we're going to do. That horse went from doing those things to that horse sat quiet on a loose rein for 10 minutes for Michael to give a talk. And I've got it from straight through 10 minutes straight, and you'll see the before and after of the exercises that got him to that point while he's talking through what each of the grade levels were, what passing was that we were looking for. And so I'm excited that we get to share that with you and have you watch that and have you go through the program, ask the questions that you might have. It's not going to be as instructional, obviously, as what the program's going to be, because we're going to break those steps down. We're going to show you, put your hand here, put your body here, don't do this inside the course. But for those of you that can find success and do everything that you want to do by just being in this coaching week for the week, for having the example videos from here, from checking out our YouTube channel, like we talked about yesterday, at the end of the day, all we care about is helping you find success. If we can do that in this 1 week and that's all you need from us, then go out, enjoy your horse, and live your best life doing exactly what it is that you want to do. Not sometimes the things that your horse wants to do that aren't desirable or aren't enjoyable. Because life's too short to pay for expensive ponies that you're not getting to have fun on. Sorry, that was my long spiel. Moral of the story, I will have all the directions for you. You will not be left out. Tomorrow is going to be super fun. It's not going to be quite as long as us talking, for 2 hours and answering Q&As. Today we're going to do that again. We're going to go through and try to cover all those questions that we missed yesterday. And, yeah. Sorry. I'm long-winded. You go. You go. Oh. I'll take a breath. I'm good.
It's probably good. You're about to pass out.
I'm not going to pass out. I'm excited when I'm passionate about something.
If you see behind us, it says control the head, control the horse. Some of you don't know yet. You're new to us and you don't know yet what it is, the Respect series. Basically, it's just a series of exercises, like a checklist to see if the horse backs, to see if the horse gives, to see if the horse flexes. 12 basic steps to see where your horse is at, and you see a check engine light.
I can't see.
So what you want to make sure that you do is you want to go through the Respect series and check it out. So control the head, control the horse is this. Give me a problem, any problem with your horse under saddle, and we'll see how you don't have enough control of its head. Think about your horse like a obedience dog, not your pet, not your 1,000-pound pet, but an obedience dog. A good obedience dog is not going to go kill the cat because it's so obedient it won't pull on your leash. It won't go fight with other dogs because it won't pull on your leash. It won't run away from you and run off because it won't pull on your leash because it heals well because it's obedient. Well, it's the exact same thing with your horse. If we teach them how to be soft and easy on the leash, well, then it won't run off. Well, then it's not going to buck you off. Well, now it's not going to rear. Well, now it's not going to jump because it's obedient. So we're just going to put simple, easy steps in. And what makes me upset is when people understand the advanced ins and outs of a show ring and don't know what to do when it goes wrong because you're only preparing for when things go right. The fundamentals and what we're doing, the foundation that we are putting in, it really gets you to the place where you understand what to do if things go wrong. And
people make it out to be too hard.
So much of Hakuna Matata is, it means no worries, right? People worry about things that they don't know. It's as simple as that. If you don't know, well, then you're worried about it. If you don't know how to keep that horse from bucking you off, well, then you're going to be unconfident. You're going to worry about it. If you don't know how to keep that horse from running off, it's going to make you unconfident. If you don't know how to keep that horse to walk easy on the trail, well, you're going to worry about it. You're going to be upset about it. So all we're going to do is take you through this program, take you through these simple 12 steps, and I'm telling you, no matter what problem you give me, we'll take it through these steps. Maybe use this exercise or that exercise, whatever the horse is missing.
And whatever they're not good at. So this example we're going to show you tomorrow, you'll see what step he went back to that the horse wasn't good at. That's going to be different than the dull horse that we did, a horse that was a little bit...
the walrus?
The walrus, yeah, the red walrus. The exercises that horse isn't good at are going to be different for when you're looking at repercussion purposes. People think repercussion is bad. Whenever the horse isn't doing what you want, you pick something that they don't like or they're not good at, and that's the exercise you work on so that they see that there's a reason why. The good thing is the open door. This is the thing that's enjoyable. So,
are you excited?
I am excited. Because the next, I got excited and I posted a question, but I want to go on here real quick before we go into our Q&As and before we start talking about control the horse, control the head, control the horse. I get to have one conversation. This will answer Robert's question as well. So bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to pull this up.
With you.
Bear. Share screen. Bear. Will it let me share the screen? Share. Window. Yeah. No. Okay, how do I... Do. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to bring it up as a background, and hopefully I can talk over it. Add a background. Obviously, I did not do a pre-flight check on this, or I could have made this work a lot easier.
You need a Respect series for technology.
I don't need a Respect series for technology.
It wouldn't be a horrible idea.
Hater. Bear with us for 1 second. I have it set up as a screen share, but now it's not letting me see it. Okay. It's going. It's uploading. Everything is good. Tell us a joke. Maybe not. No, maybe not. Maybe not.
I got a good one.
Maybe not.
What do you call a promiscuous pony?
Don't.
A little horse.
Don't do it.
That's funny.
No.
Where did the horse go when he lost his tail? The retail store.
You're funny. Okay, how do I bring this up and show it as a background? Well, let me do that. I think it's going to make me disappear on here.
All right, so...
What's the easiest way? It'll let me share a video, but the video is not... You talk for a second. You go on to your next topic. I'm going to make it a video real quick.
On to my next topic. All right, guys. So, what you got to understand is for us, the reason we say these things so confidently and the reason we stick to our guns so well, it's just like any scientist or anybody who's mastered their craft or just been through it so many times, you start to see the patterns. I see freaking Tony Robbins come into a room of thousands of people and he starts picking people out. All these people are depressed and have problems and this, that, and the other. And he says, okay, raise the hands for the depressed people. Okay. And then he has like a checklist and he goes, how's your relationship with your mother? Oh, good, fine. How's your relationship with your father? He's horrible. He walked out. Okay, boom. This is the root of your problems here. He's working. And I saw his documentary. It was so amazing because he was a clinician for people.
You're nerding
and
out right
basically, now. He had just a step-by-step program. And he had worked with so many thousands of people that he broke it down to basically half a dozen different things that could be the problem. And that's where he would look. Horses are the exact same way. Everything is simply cause and effect. Everything that doesn't behoove your health and well-being, everything that will put you in the hospital under saddle, it happens in a straight line. Bucking, running, rearing, all these things is the horse driving off in a straight line. You trying to stop. You're not getting bucked off because you picked up the reins and then tossed them at the horse and said, here, stop bucking, please. It's because you tried to stop, but your horse locked you out of the steering wheel by locking his head in between his legs, and now it's bucking and you can't stop them. I saw somebody in the comments below talking about their horse got stung by yellow jackets. They got bucked off. Advice for all of these things. If your horse is soft enough, you can take their face and move their butt, cross over their back feet, and it will cut down the buck. The horse can be super uncomfortable, and you'll be able to shut it down, even if they're getting stung by yellow jackets. Even if there's a bicycle that passes by you. Barn sour, buddy sour, too studdy, too marish. None of these issues are the real issue. They are a symptom of your issue. The fact that your horse wants to go back to the barn and eat its food because it's a fatty and loves that, that's not the issue. The fact that you can't stop it once it sees the barn and it runs back, there's your issue. If it was softer and wasn't willing to pull on your reins, well then it can't run away with you. The fact that your horse is marish and wants to kick out other horses, that's not your issue. The fact that she doesn't respect the leash, the reins enough to not swing her butt around and chase your friends backwards, kicking at their horses, there's your issue. So in all these scenarios, your horse is too studdy. That's not your issue. We've ridden show studs our whole life, and we ride them in classes with 30 other show studs. And if they just flick an ear the wrong way, they get kicked out for bad behavior. So they have to be bumping into each other, riding right past each other, and not make a noise, not go, none of that. The difference is our standard. And our standard is they can't do that, so they don't do that. So much of this is, do you have control of the horse's head, or is your horse obedient, or does your horse respect the leash? And we keep going back to the leash. I love to use that as a reference point because so much of correct riding and perfect riding is the idea of your hands never leave, you do everything with your legs, everything is subtle. Yes, that is absolutely right. And here we make bridleless horses and we make national champions and world champions, and you really don't move. Like a lot of people think that they're on voice command, they're just listening to the announcer, which isn't the case. The case is they do listen to our legs and our seat. But by the time that you get that horse that subtle, it's because they already really respect the leash. The best off-leash obedience dogs are oftentimes the best on-leash obedience dogs. The best bridleless horses are oftentimes the best bridled horses. They do their job so well that you don't need a leash. But first, in this respect series, in these fundamentals, in this foundational work that we're putting down on our horse, we have to make sure that the manual override works. That when things go wrong and things go out the window, we know what to do. We're comfortable, and we're Hakuna Matata. If you've never worked with a horse that doesn't want to do what it wants to do, well, then it's very difficult to be Hakuna Matata. So through this program, we're going to set your horse off on purpose. We're going to make them uncomfortable on purpose so you know what to do when they get uncomfortable versus being surprised on the side of a mountain. That's not awesome. You got something?
I'm trying to get it to send to the computer.
Right.
So
we'll just come back to the Q&A.
Okay, you start on that, and then I will. Yeah, I've got the first one on here. Where did it go? Come back, little.
All right, guys. So we are gonna start up our Q&A, and I'm gonna start answering questions for you guys. Okay. Can you describe what exactly you are doing with your outside hand and rein when teaching the spin? And how do you keep from getting dizzy? Well,
this was the first night. So if you're here tonight for the first time, this is going to be our day one replay after we get through our confidence coaching stuff. That's where this question is coming from.
Number one, your outside rein, you can't make them move with the outside rein. Your outside rein just blocks the shoulder from leaking out and also shuts down any forward movement. So basically, you're just bringing it to their neck and shoulder and not allowing them to leak their shoulder the wrong direction or forward. And as far as the dizzy goes, it's just practice. I mean, it's just like
it gets better. Yeah, I promise. I did the same thing with first grade, which is Michael's version of lunging the horse, which is basically walk a circle and look at me. And when you have a horse that is not so great at that for the first time, you definitely feel dizzy for sure.
Right. You good?
What do you mean?
I was gonna. Oh, you're going to go and do your own?
I was going to grab you the next one. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I've got them in order of...
Somebody was pregnant on a Mustang teaching a spin and made it about 2 spins, and then I just saw her turn green, and she started going... So, word to the wise, don't teach spins whenever you're in your first trimester of a pregnancy because, as it turns out, it's not awesome.
It's not a good idea. It's all fine.
If you're not confident to ride a horse English, which is the majority of their riding experience, what do you suggest for switching them over to Western? The Respect Series.
Treat them the exact same way.
Treat them the exact same way. There's English and Western is the difference between yoga pants and blue jeans. English and Western is the difference between English saddle and a Western saddle. It's still right and left, control the head, control the horse. We want to make it seem like a big difference. It shouldn't be. Correct English riding is not laying on the reins, so those horses wouldn't have any problem riding Western. Correct Western riding, that horse is moving so well off the reins anyway that you could pick them up 2 reins and they're going to go where you want. So
you're good. You keep talking. You keep talking.
No problem.
Yeah, you're good. I'm multitasking down here.
So many things going on the screen at the same time.
It's okay.
So you shouldn't have an issue at all. Just start from the beginning, start from the ground, and just simply direct rein in the beginning. Even your Western horses in the beginning, they start with a simple direct rein before they move to neck reining. But both of my horses, by the time that we go through the Respect Series, by the time that we go through Power Circle, which is later on in our course, it's simply 2 reins mean go straight, 2 legs mean go straight. When a rein and a leg come off of you, turn. And that's if we're direct reining or if we're neck reining.
Next one is... There you go.
How do I develop a better seat? Which exercises should I do? How can I tell if I'm truly balanced? The best way to get a better seat is to get yourself where you're sitting further back on your tailbone, further back on your pocket.
I'm going to post that tomorrow,
This is naturally going to sit your heels forward and your shoulders back. This is going to make you feel more balanced. Exercises to do. When I first started with trotting horses and cantering horses, I would have my mother show up, and she would put me on this old quarter horse that had a foot in the grave, and I would go around the round pen, and basically I'd take my hands off the rein, she would push the horse around, and I'd hold my arms out to the side, forward in front of me, back behind me. But all this did was make me loosen up my core, sit deeper on my pockets. Really, it's as simple as this. The further back from your vertical line you go, the more balance you have. The closer to your vertical line, and if you ever get in front of it, the less balance you have. So when we talk about a better seat, so much of it is just sitting down, putting our tailbone towards the horse's spine, sitting down in our pockets. All these things just give you more balance, give you more confidence.
All right, got the next one?
Sure.
Right there.
When a horse is motorcycling into the circle, do you put your weight on the outside? Do you lift and tighten the inside rein and move the shoulder? So motorcycling is dipping the shoulder. So if we have the horse in a circle like this and they just lean in, I want to draw that inside rein into their shoulder. I want to draw their face towards their shoulder and hold them there as they're going forward. Well, they're going to feel uncomfortable with that. And since they can't get their face back, they're going to move their shoulder away to get away from that pressure. I do step on the outside stirrup because I'm taking my outside leg and my outside rein off of them. Whenever I tell you, hey, you know, steering is going to be simply 2 reins, 2 legs, go straight or stay in the same track line. I take a leg and a rein off. I need you to come with it. So if I have my horse bent to the inside and I take my outside rein and leg off, even though the horse is bent, it should move outwards. So if it's bent like this, I take my outside rein and outside leg off, that horse should move outwards like that. So that really fixes the motorcycling and really gets the horse plumb and square and easy. And again, just one of the things that we do going through our Respect series.
Next one's on there. There you go.
Not exactly a training question, but I'm curious. I keep seeing posts about folks who are asking to canter and their horses start bucking. What is that about? Is that disrespect issue, or is it because mixed cues in the past, that's their way out of a tense situation? Quite frankly, when it comes to bucking into the canter, so many people, they want to canter. We all want to canter. Canter is, you know, the sound of America, the sound of a Western movie. Blukadum, blukadum, blukadum. That's what we think about when we think about horses, is that sound from a Western movie. Understand this. So many people that when they're listening to me, their reins are on their horse's neck. When they walk, they pick up the reins. I tell them to trot, they pick up the reins a little bit more. When I tell them to canter, they almost have a hold of the horse's tonsils. Well, you may be saying canter, you may be kissing and you may be spurring and you may be kicking, but you're also holding the brake to the ground. And a horse can't do a burnout. What they do is they do a buck. Okay? So first and foremost is to be clear with what we're saying and give that horse the freedom to move forward. The next thing that happens a lot of times is we don't really mean canter. So we're nagging this horse, but we're not pushing him over the edge. We may be saying the word canter, but the horse isn't educated enough to know what that means. So now we're nagging the horse at the trot. We're nagging the horse at the trot, and we're like, canter, canter, and we're nagging, nagging, nagging. The horse kicks out, or the horse throws one buck, and immediately our kisses go away, our kicks go away. You've officially just trained the horse to kick out or crow hop or buck. So between those two things, those are the most common reasons that horses buck. Is because they're bothered in the face, they don't feel freedom in the face, and they're getting pressure from behind to go forward, and that makes them buck. You're on the lunge line and the horse canters perfect, no problem. Well, that's because you're not holding on his face, you're giving it the freedom to move forward. Whenever you round pin it, it canters, no problem. You get on his back, it starts bucking. Has nothing to do with you being on his back, has everything to do with when you're on his back, you're holding on to his face and driving it forward. So much of cantering is, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you have a horse that is a certifiable bucker, we have to do a couple tricks to get him out of it by redirecting his face, keeping him off center, things like that. But broad stroke statement, most horses is simply we're holding onto the brake and the gas at the same time. They're intimidated from the front and we're pushing them from the back. We make bucking happen.
You've got several of them there then.
When working on flexing in motion, my horse crashes into the circle whenever I pick up the inside rein. What is the best way to address this and still working on getting her to drop her head while dropping her head and give while riding? All right, first and foremost, we got to work on one thing at a time. So we can't think about her flexing in motion and giving her head at the same time. So we need to just pull her off center and release, pull her off center and release, walk her forward, disengage her and release, flex her to the inside and release, touch and release, give and release, flex and release. In the beginning, she's going to feel stiff, and every time that you flex her, her shoulder's going to go with her. But if you're just repetitive as can be, and you're thinking do this 3, 4, 5 times, I'm talking about do this 30, 40 times, that horse is just going to break loose, and she's going to soften up. Naturally, her head's going to go down just without you asking it to, just by being on loose rein because you keep touching and releasing. Then we can worry about doing spirals and getting her backing up crooked, or we can start putting a cue on getting her head down, and that's how the second part of that question, you're going to get her head down when you're going forward. All right. While riding my gelding, he hollers for the mare and tosses his head. How should I respond to him? Do I allow it? Absolutely don't allow it. It's kind of like you talking to your kids and your kids talking on the phone to their friends and you can't get their attention. You wouldn't accept that. Don't accept it with your horse. When a horse yells around me, yelling for a horse is a long distance call. They don't yell when they're right up next to each other. Notice they only yell when you take one away from the herd. So, with that being said, they're not paying attention to you. Give them a reason to pay attention to you. Give them a reason to have their undivided attention. So by backing them up or doing first grade, getting them soft and easy in a small circle, if you're already under saddle, flexing and disengaging, backing up crooked, give him a reason. Do what he sucks at so he has to pay attention to you and he'll stop hollering. Best way to approach creeks for the first time. Leslie, sitting deep on your butt on a loose rein. So sit back over the horse's butt so if they spook from it, they go left or right to get away from it because there's no other thing that they're going to do. If they see a creek, they're not going to stand in rear. They're not going to buck in place. If the scary thing is the water, think about if it was a bear coming out of the woods, they would never buck in place. They would never rear and say, I'm a pretty pony. They would turn and go. So if you are coming up to something that you perceive as a threat, the only adjustments that I make is I sit further back, loosen up my core, sit deeper in my saddle. I'll put my heels in front of me. I get my shoulders behind my hips. So now we're going towards that water. If that horse turns, the first thing that's going to turn is its shoulders. I'm sitting over his butt. Now I don't move at all. That horse turns left, I disengage it right. It turns right, I disengage it left. Now I have that horse going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, it wants to get over the creek to get away from the pressure. Simple, easy, yet effective. How to get over the fear of buck coming into the lope. Miss Teely is the same thing. Drive that horse from the ground. Make sure it knows how to canter. Realize that you can canter him off. He canters off easy from the ground. And also he can canter off and give his face to the inside of the lunge circle whenever you do that. So not just canter and just wild running off, but you can just kiss to him and he canters off and gives you his face to the inside. Then whenever you're riding, you're going to trot him and you're only going to use one hand. You're going to have him a little off center to the inside, off his center line, so that you know when you kiss, you already have his face to the side. He can't duck his head between his legs, and that's going to give you the confidence to drive, kiss, until he takes that first hop into canter. And when he does that, you're going to stop kissing and just ride the canter out. So it goes right back to control the head, control the horse. How about buddy sour being out in the field? Horses going out fine. Horses left at home runs and calls. Okay, so if we're talking about horse behavior when the horse is on its own, that's the horse's time. That's why I'm so picky when a horse is with me, because that time is mine. Okay, most horses are weekend warriors. They work 1 hour a weekend. Here at Gascon Horsemanship, hard working horses work 6 hours a week. Ooh, we're working 15 hours a day. They're working 6 hours a week. I don't feel bad for them. In those 6 hours, in that very short window that they are working with us, we expect their respect and their undivided attention. The least that your horse can give you is this respect and this undivided attention when it's working with you. As far as his friend in the field, that's not your problem. That horse can't hurt you. So that horse is on to do its own thing. If you don't like how he's doing that, take him out and tie him up so that at least you're inhibiting some of that motion. If you don't want him pacing the fence or acting a fool, give him some patience time. If he thinks that every time he starts yelling he's going to get tied up, maybe that's the reason for him not to do it. But other than that, horses on their own time, it's just like when horses fight. That's their time. They better not do any of that when they're with us. From the moment we put the halter on them to the moment we put them back out, they're ours. From that time on, that's their free time to do as they please. Any plans of the year to come to Midwest for a clinic with our own horses?
What do we have?
I don't think so.
What do we have left this year? We have New Jersey clinic that I believe is completely full. We're going to Midwest Horse Fair, or not Midwest Horse Fair, we're going to Equine Affair in Massachusetts. And then we have our retreat. So after having Millie, we kind of figured out that we can reach the most people by really putting our energy towards our online programs, doing our retreats, which we've had those. We went from having those 2 a year to 4 a year to 8 a year to 10 a year to next year we have 12 scheduled. And those are the things we've been talking about, the little 5 day, 6 night horse vacation where you come down here with your horse. You get to spend 5 days with us going through all the things, obstacle course, all the fun adventures, going on a trail ride, working on any problems that you have and really building your confidence up. And we've kind of made that our focus. So the majority of our clinics that we're doing right now are places that we haven't been. Going to Africa. Next year we want to go to Hawaii. We want to go to North Dakota. I haven't been to Montana, so I'm going to go with Michael to his Montana clinic next year, just because it allows us. We haven't been selfish in very many parts of our business because we want to help as many people as possible. But we went from traveling, 30 weekends a year to having a baby and being like, you know what, we should probably not put her through that. So right now our biggest opportunity for you to get help getting your horse worked with, if you're not able to make it to one of the clinics that we do have, is if you can make it down here or you can fly in and learn from us as well. There's a lot of people that fly in, come to the local airport, come to New Orleans, get to experience all of that in the process. And you can either do that and use one of our horses, and we have all different riding level ability horses, and we're constantly colt starting our new babies. So if you're afraid that you're going to be on something that is not for an advanced person, or if you want something that's super beginner ready to really make you feel confident, get your confidence up, that's kind of the biggest option that we have right now for you to be able to use your horse outside of the couple clinics here and there. We keep everything up to date on our website, so that's going to be gasconhorsemanship.com/events. And you can see right now we have our remaining retreats for this fall that are completely sold out, and our 2023 reservations will be coming up on there very shortly. So if you have interest in that, next year we have our confidence retreats, which is going to be for anybody who is having confidence issues, or that kind of goes hand in hand with people that aren't really quite ready to do a bunch of canter work. We have our intermediate retreat, which is going to be the next step up from a confidence retreat, with people that are comfortable doing a little bit of canter exercise. And then we have our boot camp, which is going to be somebody who is either already pretty advanced and excited to come do more and more with us, or they've already been to a retreat and they feel comfortable and confident going to the next step. There'll be a little bit more of exercises and different training tools involved in that compared to some of the stuff that we normally do within our regular retreats. And then we also have a gated retreat, which will just be specifically gated horse people that are here, so we can cover some more topics in gait without boring the people that have a horse that doesn't gait. So, and we have, again, 12 of those scheduled for next year, so we're really excited, and that allows us to be able to reach a bunch of people, have a good time, and be at home with our kid while we do that. So we'll be playing musical Millie, which is our daughter. You'll see her when we're at the retreats. If Michael's teaching, I'm teaching, one of our family members is teaching, you just kind of get to be here and get that whole experience. And we have a blast with it. We have a really good time. There's a couple people on here in the comments that have been to them that have been kind of shouting them out this whole time, and it's definitely a blast. And it's for us, it's so cool to see people come the first time and meet everybody. It is an absolute blessing that we get to meet people more than once and to get to see people more than once, because it's one thing to get the videos sent into us like we do for the membership club. It is a whole new ball game to see people in person and see just the smile on everybody's faces and them actually having fun.
My favorite thing on earth to do is to see an adult acting like a child. To bring that joy to somebody, or to help, or what's the word? Instigate the situation where an adult gets to feel like a child is my favorite thing to do on this earth, because I feel like as we get older, a lot of the joys in life get taken from us with responsibility, with life, with our brain over analyzing and thinking situations. As a kid, my kid has fun in a cardboard box, like all the joy in the world. So to make an adult feel like a little child and just have them grinning from ear to ear because they're doing some silly exercise with a horse, or they're playing a game, or they're doing this, that is by far my favorite thing to do. And that's what we're always looking forward to do. And it almost reminds you, sometimes we forget why we're horse people in the first place. We do it so much that we forget, oh yeah, that's right, this is why I do this.
Which one are you on? Okay, cool. You should have one from Barb. You just have to. How far did it go up?
How do you scroll on the thing?
Carefully. I want to hide the current comment. There we go. All right. Where did it go? So, I have a new computer, and on the trip to Africa was the first time that I've taken it with me.
Right there.
And the first thing I did at the airport was drop it on the side and break one of the ports. So right now we have our light plugged in, and that means we can't have the light and the mouse plugged in at the same time. So what did we figure out? We started saying everything is first world problems, huh?
Yeah, first world problem. All right, a lot of liberty and emotional horsemen, I guess you would call it. They say by training this way, you create shutdown in a horse. Just wondering your thoughts. Miss Barb.
This is in regards to freezing, I imagine, so our desensitizing process.
You got to understand, everybody sees the world through their own lens. I never take away from other people's experiences and what they're seeing. All I can say from my experience is so many people are seeing the world through a peephole. And it's not that people are wrong and your teachers are teaching you wrong or telling you wrong, but just so many horsemen that I've come into contact with, so many mentors of mine, they're steadfast in their beliefs. They truly believe in their beliefs because the way they see it is that way. But they've only had one style of experiences. They've only worked one discipline. They've only worked with one type of horses. They're entertainers that have worked with the same horse over and over. Show trainers who have the same bloodlines. So just as somebody who has just worked with so many different breeds, so many different disciplines, so many different problems,
so many horses,
and just work with thousands of horses. Usually when you go looking for a mentor, you look for a 75 or an 80-year-old that's barely still kicking it. And the reason you want to mentor the 75 or 80, because hopefully over the course of their year, they've ridden a couple hundred horses. And my father's a Hall of Fame trainer, and he rode a lot of horses, and he was a problem horse trainer. But in all fairness, in a year of his career, he would have ridden 20 or 30 horses in the whole year. And that was busy. He had 30 horses in for training, but he was a show trainer, so those horses stayed for the whole month, month after month after month for the whole year. If he got a horse in February, it didn't leave till the end of September or October. So there wasn't a lot of change in the horses. So over the course of his whole year, he's going to work with 20-something, 30 horses, and he's very busy, very successful trainer. And for most people, that's the case. So it takes them to be 40, 50, 60 years old before they have kind of a broader view of things. Well, just by sheer chance, my career has worked out in a way where I have gotten multiple lifetimes of experience, of old-timer experiences. I would have worked in 1 year the amount of horses that my father worked in 10 years. Well, then if you do that for the better part of a decade, now you have multiple lifetimes of experiences, and you can really, the more you see, the more the patterns look the same. The questions I get asked are the same. The interaction between horses and people are the same. So human nature is the same and horse nature is the same. So the interaction creates the same problems. So no matter where I go in the world, they're having the same issues, the same problems. And it just becomes easier, and you just become more confident in fixing it. You become more confident in saying these things boldly. I remember being young, and every statement that I had, I almost second guessed myself. Well, maybe, I'm kind of young. Yes, there's none of that anymore. All that time has already passed. I still learn new things every day. But the overall philosophy and ideology of horses shutting down or this, that, and the other, a lot of people are taken back by somebody who just walk into the round pen and start making adjustments. Well, you're not seeing a 30-year-old go in there and start making adjustments. You're seeing somebody that has the horse experience of somebody that's 300 years old walking in there and just start making adjustments, because we know the patterns, we know what we want to see, and that's why we're not worried about shutdown. So yes, it does get said from time, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. You're working too quickly. You're doing this, you're doing that. Understand that's just somebody seeing it from their point of view. And we appreciate their input. But at the end of the day, results don't lie, and the proof is in the pudding. And time again, we just give the results that people are looking for.
And then you should be able to... Uh-oh. Here we go. Scroll back it. I put it in after this. So I'm going to scroll down slowly. That's what I want. Where's my next?
We're not glitching out whenever we look down. We're trying to find the comments that we want to put in.
Emotional Horseman. Did I not post the next one? Oh, that's my bad. Hold on. Let me edit it and then press the next button. Let's see. We just did that one. Okay. This one's a little bit longer, but it's just the background on the question. Here we go. All right. So new comment.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just the background information. Don't freak out.
Okay. How much abuse do you allow to happen when introducing a new horse into the herd? We introduced our new gelding to a herd of 2 mares, and he now has superficial bite marks all over him. My mare is quite aggressive with him, although her doesn't seem to bothered. He doesn't seem bothered, and doesn't even move much whenever she bites at him. He's starting to look like a hot mess, but all the cuts are superficial, nothing to call a vet over. Just not sure how long to let this go on. Well, quite frankly,
it's personal preference.
It's 100%. There is no wrong answer, but I'll tell you this: the idea of separating them and reintroducing them, or keeping a fence between them and then reintroducing, none of that's going to work, because when you put them back together, they're just going to figure it out on their own. Now, in the case of you have a valuable horse, or you have a show horse, or you just typically you love your horse and you don't want him to get scraped up, you can separate them. But horses will be horses, and when you put them together, it's just the one thing that's changed over the years. Nothing has changed between the horse and human interaction, between human nature and horse nature coming together and creating these same problems. Nothing has changed. So I'm sure the mentor that came 500 years ago was running into the same issues of bucking into the canter, of horses running people over, of horses spooking and things. Exact same problems. The one thing that has changed is we've gotten so first world and we've gotten so soft that there's not allowed to be any discomfort. We want people to grow up with no discomforts whatsoever.
It's a scary feeling because these horses are our whole world.
We don't want anything to happen. We don't want there to be any discomfort. And we've gotten away from the fact that whenever we were out in Africa looking at the buffalo, the gazelle, the zebras, as they would say.
They have to be in very close proximity when they're put together, because at night in Africa, they have these canvas tents, and you'll see this in our video when we watch it at some point before the end of the Confidence Coaching Week. It's like a canvas paddock, and on the outside of that is 6 strands of very, very hot wire to keep lions from eating their horses at night.
Yeah, that was the horse barn. A piece of canvas going around in a square. But like I was saying,
sorry.
Like I was saying, is you really get an understanding. Horses are just prey animals. They just got lucky enough to get picked on humans' lips to be ridden. They're just prey animals. They think the same. They react the same. They look the same. Everything is the same. They're just prey animals. And somewhere we've humanized them so much.
My turn.
No. We humanized them so much that we've gotten away from the fact that the rules of the animal kingdom still apply in their herds and in your paddock. It's the same thing. So when you put them out, the rules of the kingdom apply.
My turn. Okay. So with this, it's kind of like we talked about, it's personal preference. So understand that anytime you turn a horse out, whether you turn them out by themselves or you turn them out together, you understand the risk that something can happen to them. The same thing can happen in a stall. Your horse in the stall can get cast. Your horse can colic. They can find something that you didn't know in the construction and end up having some fluke thing happen to them. At the end of the day, we are caretakers of horses, animals that we cannot control what happens with them. So you have to understand the risk when you put them in with a group of new horses, that they're going to be horses and they're going to establish the same program that we talk about in the Respect series. They're going to establish that, and they're going to establish their hierarchy within the herd. So you have to kind of figure out in your head, and superficial is like super best case scenario. One thing for me personally, all of my trick riding horses and my personal horses and the horses that'll never leave the farm because I have a problem.
Every horse that's ever came through our hands.
This is why I'm not allowed to ride 90-day training horses, because I try to buy them. Besides the point, I want my horses to be horses. So I want them to be outside in the pasture. I want them to have fun, and I want them to live out there. I understand that horses that are in the barn might look a lot better. The horses that are turned out by themselves don't have as many scratches or issues, but I want them to be out and be horses, and they really love each other. That being said, my group of horses are like a little gang. So anytime that I have not a faulty, I have a lapse in judgment and I add another horse to my herd, I understand all of my horses and what their body language is and how they communicate. And I have a couple horses that are not the sweetest when it comes to that. And so you understand the risk of putting that horse in there and not knowing the new horse that you get, what are their reactions going to be? Are they going to run and kick your other horses? Are they going to bite them? So I have one horse in my pasture that's my heart horse. I've had him since he was 3 days old. He's my first horse. He is a quote unquote asshole, for lack of better words. He's amazing with people.
You told me I couldn't cuss.
I'm very sorry. I don't know any other word to use to describe him. I love him a lot, but he bites everybody. Anybody who's in the pasture with him is constantly covered in bite marks. So what we've decided is we've actually given him a second career, and he is our babysitter. So he teaches all of our young colts. So in the Paso world, we like to keep our horses, stallions, until they're a little older so they can really mature, make sure that they're getting as much body size as they can get. But you don't want them to be steady. You don't want anything to have that behavior. And whenever they're on their own time, we really can't control that. So we put them in with our babysitter that we know he is without a shadow of a doubt going to bite everybody. And so have in your mind, whenever you're going to turn your horse out or mix pastures or whatever you're going to do, my only red flag where I'm going to step in and intervene is if I have a horse that is going to continue and chase and pursue that horse. When I start getting to the 48-hour mark and that horse will not leave that horse alone, then I'm going to look at a different that's going to be my mark where I'm going to step in and be like, okay, I'm going to find a different turnout situation for this. And it's one thing if they just keep fighting and then they take a break and then they fight a little bit later and they take a break. That doesn't bother me. But if I can see that that horse is physically like seeking that horse out and constantly picking and picking and picking, even if they're not doing a lot of damage, if they're just running that horse or they're going to lose weight, that's my red flag to say, I'm going to make the choice. Now, eventually they might work that out. I don't know if that's going to be 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, whatever that might be. But that, for me personally, is my red flag. So figure out what that is for you and figure out what you're comfortable with and understand that at the end of the day, they are horses and they're going to hurt themselves by themselves. So keep that in mind. That was a lot of conversation for that. But hey, it's a real thing. I mean, we love these horses and we want to give them the best opportunity to not hurt themselves.
How did you get a horse moving forward after a colt start? My horse is very good in going in a little circle, but doesn't want to walk forward. I am keeping her head a little bent. I have ridden her 4 times, and she is still very hesitant to walk around in a larger circle. All right, a couple things. If we are in a round pen, you can use the second person, and you can drive the horse with the flag towards the outside. If you are riding out and about, what you can do is this. You can bring a crop in and just disengage and use that crop, and usually that's enough energy for them to want out of that circle, and you can allow them out. Or if you have a stubborn one that really doesn't want to go, you can move their butt one way, turn their head the other way, and bring that crop around and bump them on the shoulder, and now you turn them left and right and left and right, and every time they get a step forward, and it breaks them loose and they go forward. So I went through this. I have a quarter horse that I am starting, and just not too long ago, he didn't want to go forward. He just wanted to bend and give and bend and give. So I just did that method. I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember, but used to at the skating rink, you would go and they would have this toy, and you could buy it too for your house, but usually at the skating rink, it had a seat, and you would sit on it, and you would put your feet on little, basically bicycle handlebars, and it had roller skate wheels under it. And to get it to go forward, you propelled yourself by turning left, turning right, turning left, turning right. And at first you weren't going anywhere. And next thing you know, it would start going, and that would send you forward. And that's how you would drive around either your driveway or the skate rink. I can't remember for the life of me the name of that toy growing up. But that's how colt starting works when they're stuck. And it's okay to be stuck because at the end of the day, when a horse gives you a hard time, they're going to go. When cars break down, they won't go. When horses break down, they won't whoa. So it doesn't bother me if a horse doesn't want to move off. Maybe 4 days is a little much. I would probably start putting a little bit more pressure to get them to move. And that's either going to be moving their butt, moving their shoulder, or getting a second person in to drive that horse for me. And basically, I'm a passenger as they're lunging me around. My horse, Kate, I go to ride her. She tosses her head like she is trying to pull the reins away from me. Any suggestions to fix it? Absolutely. Go through the respect series.
And that's going to make so much more sense tomorrow.
When you see the result, yeah, it's going to make so much
and
more sense.
And for some of you, the cool thing about this is if you're gaming and you learn from watching things and you don't need any hand holding, tomorrow might be enough for you to be like, okay, these are the steps. I've got this. It's a YouTube recording. I've got the live recording after the fact. So we're excited for this to make more sense and every answer we have to not just be a broken record, that it's actually going to have something behind it.
If the horse is pulling on your hands, she's pulling on you on the ground. Go to first grade, as we like to call it. Get that horse to lunge in a very small circle where they're really bent and soft. When she won't dare pull on your hand from the ground, where you can use your whole body and you can put a little pressure on her to be soft and easy, well, then that's going to translate to the saddle. And then once you get in the saddle, pick her apart one rein at a time. Pick that resistance apart. Every time she pulls up, don't grab with both hands. Grab with one hand and pull her off center. Take her off center one way or the other and make sure that she is getting softer and easier. That's how you get that horse soft and easy. Suggestions for a red-headed mare that always squats and pees when a gelding is in the arena. She's already been through her heat cycle. Miss Roxanne, just ride. Give her there's no slack, there's no this, there's no that. They have mare classes in every breed in existence. They have mare classes, okay? And in those mare classes, there might be 20 or 30 horses in the arena at the same time. With that being said, if a client pays you for the whole year to work that horse to get it ready for the national championships, whether you did a good job or bad job, all comes down to that one day, that one ride. You could have been winning the whole year. You have a bad day at nationals, you did a bad job. That's how the industry works. If you lost all year, but you win that world championship or you win that national championship, at the end you had a great year. So you want to get that horse where it's going to listen to you in heat, not in heat, other horses, no other horses, and so much of that. And you really see it not in the showing, you see it in the soccer games. That driving and giving them a job and going forward and giving them such a job and such a purpose that they can focus right through whatever they are thinking in their head, whatever urges are overcoming them. You can get them doing what you want. If you do this, that horse will stop acting like that.
Which one did I just do? Red-headed mare. Oh, red-headed mare went away. Okay, I think this is the next one.
When a horse passes all the grades with one person and then someone else needs to take care of your horse, if you can't, will the horse need to do the respect series again with the next person? Stacy. All right, Miss Stacy, think about it like this. If you do a great job raising your kid will respect the elders even when you're not around. If you do a good job raising your kid will respect elders when you're around. If you do a bad job raising your kid won't respect you or the elders even if you're there or not there. So what I'm getting at is the more respect you gain out of your horse, the easier it is to get respect out of them whenever somebody else has them. So it all depends on that horse. If the horse is really trained well, ideally they can do the respect series, no problem. But most people don't. They're too lazy or they don't know any better. So you want to get that horse so respectful that they give respect easily to the next person and the next person. So that's oftentimes the difference between the colt starts and the problem horses that we fix is the colt starts, they'll be 30 days under saddle, but they will say yes ma'am and yes sir to any human being alive because they don't know any different. The problem horses, a lot of times, they know better than to try anybody with a blue MG shirt on because they've tried the students, they've tried this, they've tried that, none of it's worked. But when they go home, if the owner doesn't stick to their guns and do the same thing, well, then you have an issue.
So that's kind of one thing that we do. We always have people ask us too, we can pull this one up so it doesn't go to the next one. One of the questions we get is, how do you make sure you have good success rate with your training program? Because unfortunately, we've kind of created this environment for us that horses that have been through 25 other trainers that people have had 6 years to try to fix, we get a 30-day shot to do the best that we can to get them ready for success. And so what we do is we work on forgiveness of the horse. So once that horse has come here and Michael's worked through the problems and it's riding really good for him and he feels like he's gotten them to a point where they're saying, yes ma'am, yes sir, doing all the right things. And then it's going to go to the next riding ability down the chain. So that might be me, that might be our assistant trainer. And then after we can ride them successfully and not have that horse question our judgment, question what we're asking, then we do the next level of rider. We just keep working our way down all the way to beginner riders that come in through our academy program that want to be horse trainers eventually. And if that horse is still answering the proper questions without questioning the judgment of who's riding them, or them asking the perfect way, or them always doing everything perfect, then we know that that horse, when they go home, even if the person doesn't know anything about the Respect Series, they don't care to learn our program, they don't care to watch the exit appointment to see what we do to fix things, then that horse is going to know their job. And we also do things a lot crazier here, so when they go home, they're like, oh, thank God, normal people. And so working on that forgiveness is going to allow you to have those horses find a greater success going down the road as well. Sorry, so many things. You do the next one.
Horse tosses her head and puts her head pulling down on the reins so I get off balance. If the horse is not willing to pull on your reins from the ground because you push her and ask for her face, you send her off and ask for her face, and she gets so butter soft, have these conversations on the ground so you don't have to have them in the saddle as much. Then once you already putting a chink in her armor and you get in the saddle, then when she goes to toss her head, don't pull on both reins. A straight line is where she's strong. Work her off one side or the other and pick her apart until she doesn't dare want to pull on that leash. Very similar to teaching a dog how to do obedience and heel. So I rode Mesa today for the first time in 2 years. After the Respect Series on the ground, he was somewhat stoggy. What, stoggy? But gave head and rear. Under saddle at a walk, he was good. But at a Corto, he wanted his head and started to shake his head, and I lost confidence.
Oh, they're pulling on you, that
Yeah,
rootin' and rootin' and rootin'. It's like, ah!
I didn't know how to correct him, Miss Maria. All right, Miss Maria. When they start doing that, your power comes in a circle. A circle. Like life, well-rounded, like a circle. Because your horse is strong in a straight line. So anytime they start trying to pull at me in a straight line, immediately I'm taking them off center and I'm taking that energy in a straight line. As soon as you get their head off the center line, you're taking half of their power away, half of their muscles in their neck, half of their muscle, half of their balance. All that stuff you're taking it away from. Horses are strong in a straight line, so don't argue with them in a straight line. Put the ball in your court. Anytime you start using your muscles, stop and start using your mind. And when we start outthinking the horse, we know we want to pick them apart one side at a time. So flex and release and move their butt and flex and release and move their butt all to one side until the horse will not pull on that rein. Even if you give them the rein, they leave their head bent and then do the same thing to the other side. And by the time that they'll do that to both sides, then you can start backing them up crooked where you start introducing both reins at the same time. Once they start doing that, that horse is not going to pull on you guys. That horse isn't going to throw its head down, isn't going to pull on you, isn't going to shake its head. All of those scenarios, that horse is just willing to pull on you, and that's the thing that we need to fix. My horse is suddenly only moving backwards. He flexes and disengages, but when I ask for forward, he only moves backwards.
And they have...
I can't get a single step forward. What can I do?
And I think they are doing the Respect Series. I think that I can't find the name
Okay,
tag on it.
so if the horse is running backwards, the horse cannot, I repeat, cannot run backwards while it's giving its butt. With its back feet crossed, it can't run backwards. So horses that like to run backwards with me, a lot of times I like to use a crop on them, but not like you're thinking. I don't want to pop them in a straight line. Whenever they start running backwards, I'll take their face and pull it to their butt, and I'll pop that inside flank, that inside buttocks, cheek, and they gets their butt movement. Well, now they're not going backwards anymore. They're in a circle. They're in a circle. They're in a circle. Well, after 1 or 2 circles, they want out. Well, I'm going to hold them there for 7 or 8, continuously increasing the pressure, and then out of nowhere, I'm just going to release. I'm not going to push them forward. I'm not going to argue with them to go forward. I'm just going to release. Well, they went out of that circle so big that when you release, they're going to go forward. And they're going to go forward for 5 feet, 10 feet, and then they're going to be like, oh, shit, I'm going forward.
No, I don't want to do that.
Stop, and they're going to be stubborn. And as soon as they start sucking backwards, I'm going to grab one rein, flex them, start moving their butt, moving their butt, moving their butt, and they're going to want out of there, I'm going to release. Now it's going to become their idea. And just like in my household, whenever I want something done, it's important that it's my wonderful wife's idea is how things happen in my household. So just like with your horse, if you make it your horse's idea, I imagine it's a mare you're riding. Mare joke? No? Make it your horse's idea is what I'm saying. And you do that by grabbing their face, moving their butt.
All right, Louise, we answered this, and I think I might have answered this one for you yesterday. How can I get the Respect series? Tomorrow you're going to find out how. But first, we want you to watch it. Go through, see the results. You're going to see in front of you a horse that I'm telling you at the end, working through the things, was not wanting to sit still. Michael's going to show you the drills he did to show you a horse that went from meeting Michael and being not great to sitting quiet for 10 minutes straight while he had a conversation. And I know there's a lot of you out there that would enjoy to be able to have your horse sit quiet and not paw and not take their head from you and not try to walk off for 10 minutes straight. Super excited. All right.
How to teach a horse not to lay down in water to cool off. Control the face, control the butt. So many of us, when the horse goes to lay down.
No, don't let him paw. Don't let him paw.
We're letting them put their head down and we're letting them paw. And then by the time that the laying down starts crossing their mind, they're too stiff for us to pull up and move here and there. So having that horse so butter soft in the reins that even if they get the thought of laying down, we just pick up a rein and their head just melts to the leash because they just want to give to that pressure. Well, then that's going to keep you from getting laid down with.
Okay, now I'm going to slowly. Whoop, I say that.
Do you need to hook up your mouse?
I do, but I have to unplug the light. Are you okay with that?
We're going into the darkness.
Oh no. Oh no! This is gonna make it a lot easier for me to go through. So now I've done all of the questions that I had the last 2 days, and we're gonna work through the comments here live. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna just scroll down through. Are you gonna put your phone on there? Ooh, look, we're light again. Good job. All right, bear with me for 1 second. I'm gonna scroll back up here through the comments and start pulling ones that we haven't done yet. Hello, hello, hello. Everybody's saying hi. Wendy said you had a new Michaelism. Let's see, Hakuna Matata. Oh no. Oh no.
Cattle drive, October retreat.
Hey, I tell you what, we went out after we finished our soccer game on the horses. We went out for a trail ride through the swamp, like the swamp. It was like a advanced boot camp swamp trail ride.
It was swampy.
Super sketchy.
We were doing videos today in a monsoon.
Yeah, which we'll have to share with you guys.
Question for later.
Let's see. Anyhow, the story of that is I took a draft horse and I wrangled 2 of them by myself. Okay, here you go.
Question for later. With a dull horse, how do we increase our energy when asking to help her pass grades? Which completely depends on the horse, but for a lot of dull horses, you'll increase your body energy, you'll start clicking to them, you'll get louder, then you'll start moving that rope, well then now you're swinging the rope, and then you start making physical contact and popping that horse with the rope. In the beginning it'll be tap, 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 and then they'll move. And if they don't move, pick yourself up a crop because it has a little bit more bazinga. A little bit more bazinga, but it's the same thing. No matter what you do, it's kind of like accelerating a car. Tap, 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 tap. Click, 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 click. Kiss, 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 kiss. And as long as you hold true and you just keep increasing until you see the horse's face change, they go from... I know horses that you can pick up a lead rope and pop them and...
Look at you like, no.
So you immediately don't pop that horse anymore because he doesn't care about a lead rope. Go get a crop. And then you pop him once, but when you start going tap, 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 okay, I'm moving.
Then the next time you just have to tap, tap.
Yeah, or even click. Like that's the thing. Once you rattle their cage and they say you're willing to go to that level, and they're
like, okay, I'm gonna take you seriously
then
now.
They know you're willing to go to that level. That's how we get draft horses, soft and easy enough to ride.
You want the most results, the least amount of pressure.
It's just like a vehicle. Because it is a vehicle.
Sassy vehicles.
Needs some baby advice. He is super sweet and I play with him each and every day. Make sure I touch him in all the places. But my problem I'm having is he tends to back up and freak out when I tend to move forward on him. And I continue to play with him. I think it's time to go ahead and start teaching that baby how to give to pressure. Let's go ahead and get a halter on him and show him how to tie early on whenever he's little so that he doesn't do that.
And you can actually take them through the Respect series up to mounting, and that'll already get them kind of figuring out what it's like to give to pressure, doing first grade where you're doing, let me take this comment off so it's not in the way. Doing first grade where you're already asking that horse to give their face and give you their attention. Then that way when you actually go and you teach them how to tie, you're not going to run into the issue as much of them just wanting to sit back or fight it. You're wanting them to kind of understand that process ahead of time. the cool thing about that is after you finish the respect series and you've taught your young horses how to lead and how to load and how to go through that whole process and tie, then you can start doing more fun things. You can start doing trick training. You can start doing liberty. All of our baby passos that are growing up, we typically don't start them until they're 2 or 3 years old, 2.5 or 3, just to get them a little bit bigger because they are a little bit shorter. A lot of passos will mature at 13 hands, 13 and a half hands, maybe 14 hands. We have some that are a little bit taller as well. But giving them other things to do to stimulate them and give them something fun to do. So we're going to be bringing in a bunch of babies this fall and start putting them through that process and letting them do some trick training and long lining and all kinds of things just to give them a little bit of stimulus when they're not out playing with their friends.
How do I get to the respect series?
We answered that. We're going to answer it again tomorrow.
Got you. Having a hard time finding...
You're not a good scroller like me. Sorry. It's a good thing that you're... Here we go. Here's one.
Love this idea. I've heard and seen the respect series multiple times, but still feel like I don't get it. I understand that. I want you to think about it in layman's terms. Don't think about it in horse terms. So many times we've been brainwashed by the horse industry so much that we just can't take it for what it's worth and just see it as simple as it is. We believe that it has to be complicated, and that's the biggest thing. So many trainers that come here to learn to become trainers, I hear that multiple times over there. It can't be that simple. It can't be that simple. Okay, you're here, you're seeing the results. They come in, they're a problem. They leave, they're not a problem. Over the course of 6 months, you're seeing that again and again and again. It is that simple. Again. It's simply pressure and release. It's simply getting them to do that. So the respect series is just simply gaining control of their body parts, making sure you have that horse's respect and undivided attention.
And more importantly, if you get stuck or you feel that, again, that's what we're here for. Either you're going, and if you feel like, this is one thing that is so hard to think about, because you think you're alone. You feel like you're alone when you have these questions and you have these problems. You are not. And you asking that question, don't ever feel like something is a stupid question, because you're not the only one who has that question. And your horse isn't the only horse that's having that problem. So if you get stuck and you let us know, we can teach you, whether you're sending in a Q&A, you're sending in a video review. We're going to show you how to fix that problem, tell you what to do differently, and have you send in another video making that correction, because somebody's going to learn from that. There's somebody out there that still at the end of the day is not going to feel comfortable enough to ask the question, and so you can get that question answered for them, and you'll actually end up helping a ton of people. You are not good at this whole scrolling thing. All right, next question was Robert. With the new course, may not be able to go do it when you all go through it, but can I pay to get in on the initial price and review it on my own time? Absolutely. So that's the thing about the course versus the membership versus reoccurring. The course is going to be a one-time payment, and it's lifetime access to that version of the course. I don't know if we'll get to a point, Michael's kind of been through the numbers, that I don't know that our system is going to evolve enough in the next 10 years to recreate an entirely new respect series, because we tweaked like one thing. We switched 2 grade levels. So between 2018 and this newly recorded respect series, we switched the order of a grade, and we added like 2 or 3 new different methods for horses that if your horse fails that grade and they're not learning it the typical way that majority of horses will go through, we have things in our toolbox that we teach you. Try this method instead. Make it more clear this way. Adjust this, adjust that. You'll notice tomorrow when we go through with this horse, Michael goes through the respect series and he's still not quite happy with where the progress ended for the first day. He made one adjustment. On our riding halter, our MG halter that we use to ride and train horses, if a horse is being more difficult or they're being a little bit more head tossy, a little bit more resistant, you can just take the clip on the halter from riding where the bit would be on the halter to going up 1 knot, and then you can have such a more clear conversation, and you see results so much faster that you're going to see just that one little change in the system, which we talk about inside the respect series through the horse help course. Just that one little switch is a night and day difference. So if we can help you find that one little switch, that's what's going to be a game changer for you and make you feel like you're able to find success so much quicker. Okay, you're skipping through all the things. Let me be the scroller. I was
just going to that one.
Dad jokes. No dad jokes, Shelly. Sorry, I'm reading through here. Okay, hard to catch.
Hard to catch horses. It's really simple. simple solutions for simple problems, Liberty is by far the easiest. Off-leash obedience will get a horse that doesn't even like people to want to come to the gate, to want to come to you. That's the long answer, is Liberty. Short answer, I was raised on a lot of horses who weren't food motivated, who weren't cookie motivated. You shake a bucket of cookies. I mean, somebody's horses, they're fat. So you just shake a bucket of cookies. And
I can open a bag right outside this office door, and they're 2 pastures away, and they're like...
She could back the trailer up to the field, open a bag of cookies and put it in the trailer, and all the horses would load themselves. That's how cookie that motivated they are. The pastos a lot of times aren't like that. They much rather just booger off. So you put them in big pastures of 10, 15 acres, it becomes a problem. So you can do one of two things in those scenarios. You can either feed them in the same place every day that has a smaller enclosed catch pen to catch them, or you can do whatever it takes to catch them, corner them, corral them with a few people, and catch them. And the moment you catch them, take them out of the field, and no matter what you have planned for that day, tie them up and feed them in a bucket. And every day that you catch them, tie them up and feed them in a bucket. And that, I've noticed, has really changed. If they think that they have to be caught to eat, they have to be caught to eat grain. Even horses that eat, full time on field and don't really get grain, they think that every time you catch them, they're going to get grain. Even if you work the dog out of them after, or they go on a long trail ride, or they go on a trip.
That's mine. Mine have short-term memory loss.
Every time that you catch them, you tie them up and feed them. I've seen that change a horse, even a hunt horse that really doesn't want to be caught or isn't cookie driven.
Well, and so often we get frustrated too, because we have, a lot of people have little time to go work their horses, and if they have to spend an hour of that time that they have dedicated, that they have to, struggle to get that time in the first place, it's super frustrating. But try to keep in mind that you have to develop some kind of routine with them where they feel like there's a benefit, even if they're not food motivated. They're getting groomed, they're getting loved on, they're getting that extra quality time with you. What are you doing?
Hakuna Matata, going into the field. So important. We're going back to the Hakuna Matata.
There.
You gotta have that Hakuna Matata when you're going out there.
And another thing that you can do in addition to using food as a motivation, we use a lot of Liberty. So when we have horses that come in, did you talk about this?
I said that.
You did say
That's
Liberty.
the first thing I said. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh.
The truth! It's fine. Okay, part of my issue is you two make it look so easy with I imagine any horse.
Understand, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried.
And I still fail every day. I do something, and Michael's like, don't do, you better not do, I wouldn't.
Guys, for anybody who is praised in public for doing anything has been working for thousands of hours in private before they ever get praised in public. So if anybody makes anything, zero people are just naturally gifted. No. That's not how. Nobody is naturally gifted to the point they train a horse with no outside influence. And whoever tells you that is lying to you. I'm telling you, because common sense and horse sense don't go together. They aren't one and the same. They aren't one and the same.
Quit moving the screen.
I'm over here too. They're not one and the same. They don't coincide. Okay. So you want to make sure that you understand that it is a practice. It's unnatural, it's practice, and it's trained. Now, somebody might be natural as far as have balance. Somebody might be natural as far as they have a cool, calm demeanor and they don't get rattled under pressure. But as far as, they just make it look easy. It comes easy to you. No, it doesn't. No, it does not at all. Every single thing that it comes easy to me now, I had to scratch and claw and sweat and do the wrong thing and get hit and get kicked and get stepped on and to learn how to do it easy. And now my passion is teaching you how to do it and getting you to the same place that I'm at
without all of the issues.
A fraction of the time is the goal.
And a fraction of the mishaps.
The pain, yeah. I still want it to be uncomfortable for you. I still want you to find failure and to find what the right answer is.
But safely. Learning a safety.
And just understand, success is not a straight line. Okay? Success is not a straight line at all. You always constantly want to see it going up and up and up and up, but
it's going to look a little bumpy going through the process.
It has to be bumpy. It's just the natural order of things. And anybody who thinks otherwise is just fooling themselves.
Well, and if you're like the rest of the people that are already in our membership and been through this, they get going and they figure it out and they get it good with one horse, then a lot of them buy a second horse or they adopt a Mustang or they go through that process and start all over.
Look at the clients that we have. As soon as they find ease, they want something more.
Yeah.
So don't think that once it's easy for you, once it comes easy, oh well, then everything.
Then we're gonna give you a new challenge.
The second it gets easy for you, you're gonna want the next thing. That's hard for you.
Teach your horse to lay down. Teach your horse to sit.
So stop looking at failure like it's a bad thing, or it's hard like it's a bad thing. Because I promise you, when you go through this, whatever your problem is right now, I have students that I'll walk out to the round pen or the arena, and they'll be almost at tears with the problem. Okay, hey, this is how you fix it. Bing, bing, boom, boom. Oh. Never again will they cry over that same problem, but they'll cry over the next thing, and they'll go looking for the next thing because they want to advance, and that's how advancement works. So don't always be looking for it to be easy, because I promise, once the thing that's hard for you right now becomes easy to you, you'll immediately stop trying to do that, and you'll be looking for the next thing. What's the next thing that I can teach him? What's the next thing that we can do? And it's going to be hard all over again, and it's hard simply because you don't know how yet.
You answered the yellow jacket one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Glad you're paying attention.
Horace and I are so committed to starting over.
Awesome.
We can't wait. We're super excited for you, and we're excited to have you on the journey for it. We did the hard to catch horse. Let's see. Love the respect series. Need to revisit the grades to help myself and help my confidence. Absolutely. And remember that with the respect series, it's the same thing. And we highly, highly encourage. A lot of people get scared that at home the respect series works great, and they travel somewhere and they get the horse off the trailer and they don't recognize the horse that they took off the trailer. Go right back to the same steps. Back that horse out of your space. Go through kindergarten. Go through first grade. By the time you go through those steps and you ask for that attention back onto you, it's going to be a game changer, and you're going to have the same horse that you are working at home whenever you get to that new location or the parade or the horse show or wherever it is that you're at. Let's see. I would love to not use a leash. Liberty is a beautiful thing. Let's see. Here we go. Not a question. Just want to say I did the Come Get Me trick training with my 16-year-old Hot Paso and my green 4-year-old Halflinger today. Different ages, temperament, and training level. Both learned it in under 10 minutes. Thank you. Ah, yay. Super exciting. I love your profile picture, by the way. We love hearing that. You guys will also learn the Come Get Me trick if you haven't gotten one of our free resources from that. We are going to do a video live with the same horse that Michael worked through the program today. We recorded the video today. I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to get it uploaded onto YouTube. And what it'll do is I'll send you guys a link. It'll be in the Facebook group. It'll be on all of our Facebook channels. It'll be in our YouTube, and it'll be in the email. And it'll be a link that you go to. And at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, that video is going to go live. And it'll play like it's going live. There'll be a countdown. It'll start. You can get your questions answered as we go through. For the 86 of you that are on here currently that I'm watching, on all the different platforms, and then we've got other platforms that are on here as well. We're also going to have a little surprise. So for those of you that have been going through a surprise, right? And I forgot to definitely have you do the code word today, so we'll have to do that in the morning.
Oh, you want to code word
Not yet,
now?
not yet. No, don't do it. So for those of you that have been following us for the last couple months, and we've been doing these virtual clinics on Fridays on YouTube every 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube. We do a video of training where Michael shows you working through a lesson with the horse. And at the end of it, he gives a secret code, which he's not going to give right now. And we'll give you the details of how to win. But what happens is the first person to email us that secret code is going to win a free retreat. So you get to pick any of the retreats for next year, pick whichever one you want to come to. Shelby and I will get you set up in the office, and you get to come stay with us. It's usually really weird. Michael likes to name a color, usually a color and an animal. It's going to be something really funky that you're probably not going to be able to spell. Spelling does not matter. It's the first person that can email me that code to gasconhorsemanship@gmail.com. I'll put it in the comments while we're watching the video live. I'll reiterate it a couple times. I'll make sure that's in the email so that way you know where it's at. But that first person that comes through, while we're on the comments and while we're watching the video, I will see that email come through, and I will already know who that winner is going to be when that comes through and put it there in the comments with you live. I'll respond to everybody after the fact and let you know. But very excited. That's a little special gift that'll be included tomorrow night whenever we finish that. And then we'll reconvene again. I guess tomorrow's Friday. Saturday we'll be back to our normal where we'll be on here and we'll answer questions. We'll do more Q&A as well. Oh, you're going too far.
I'm not going too far.
You are. You're gonna. I don't want to miss anybody.
I already answered all those.
Those are all my questions. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. RIGHT. You're welcome.
I know.
You're welcome.
I
Okay.
wouldn't have said it if I
Hello from
wasn't.
Picayune. William, tell overturn to classical music. Let's see. People like to use reins as handlebars. Yes, they do. I'm excited to get the checklist. Again, yes, that will be safety checklist. I will email it out to you. So we're going to send you all the directions for tomorrow. We're going to send you the horse safety checklist so you can go through and kind of figure out what you really need to be watching, which a lot of it you're going to want to watch it all. But another thing I'm going to do is I need to have Michael make you guys a video called, we did it in the membership, but I want to revamp a couple things that he's been doing to deal with finding your seat and the things that he talks about with getting in the proper seat in your saddle where you can really feel comfortable and confident, working with your horse, going through uncomfortable positions, and things that are unpredictable whenever you're out riding your horse, and how to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success to where you're not going to get in a bad situation with your horse. Are you seeing anything? Spring break is over. Is there a retreat the week of March 13th?
Best way to teach a horse not to jig and prance when other horses go ahead without them? Or do we keep a horse from jigging head at home? Guys, jigging and doing all that is all about being able to get them soft enough to put their head down. Whenever a horse drops his head below the withers, it releases an endorphin that kills adrenaline, and when you do that, it relaxes them. Most of those horses, we're holding them back not to go forward, so we're holding them up, and that keeps the adrenaline pump on.
Oh, read this one. That was a nice comment. Let's see. Penny said she just booked retreat number 4. I checked. We don't have a retreat that weekend of the 13th. So spring for us is super busy for a couple different reasons. The first reason is going to be the fact that that's expo season. So that's going to be us traveling to a lot of expos that are around. We're waiting to hear back on hopefully doing something at the Michigan Horse Expo again for that weekend. So we try to avoid, when we're scheduling our retreats for the spring, potential expo dates that it could happen. We try to avoid those. But we do have a list of those, and I will be sending those out at some point during this confidence retreat, so you guys have them as well if you need them. Okay.
My horse has been through two-day desensitizing training clinics, walking through flyer, blow-ups, smoke, sirens, all the horses, including mine, okay with everything. Next week, I went on a ride and horse loses his skills whenever he sees a biker or hiker. So that's the whole thing. So many times when we're doing these things, it's just okay. We're just in a group. We're doing this and we're going through the motions. So it's very easy in those type of scenarios that we think we're doing a lot because we're looking to get the horse to go through the motions, just like at a cowboy mounted shooting practice. Your spooky horse will look around and see all the other horses are chill, and then they'll chill. But if you shoot around that horse whenever he's not around those chill horses, they'll lose their marbles because we just went through the motions. We didn't look to pressure and set the horse off. That's the difference when we set a horse. We're looking to make him uncomfortable. We're looking to make him scared, and then we're addressing it. So I've done those types of clinics where we're doing the smoke bombs and the sirens and things like that. And you get a group of horses and they're all doing that. Well, that's great. But the spooky horse or the weak link of the group is looking around and all the other horses are chill, so they're just chilling with it and going with it. But then when it's standalone and we really didn't set that horse off, yes, we went through fire, yes, we went through smoke, but that didn't really bother the horse. You didn't see what they were capable of doing because you didn't make them uncomfortable. The intention wasn't to make them uncomfortable. The intention was, can we get them to go through this? You got your answer, yes, you can. But we want to make the horses uncomfortable, mentally uncomfortable, to see what they do when they're uncomfortable. And that's really the difference.
And then teach them that we're going to lead them. We're not going to let them get hurt. We're not going to put them in a situation where they get hurt. And we're going to be the person that leads them through that out the other side. I'm not giving it to you because I'm trying to prove a point. Do you see this? This is Jen. Jen said, thank you so much. This was for my comment. This was for my explanation of turning out horses.
Did she say that to you? I don't
yes. It is. As I was talking and I saw this come through. Yeah. It's not watch. She's gonna comment. No.
It was on delay.
No,
she would not tell you thank you for all that talk. Okay.
It was. We did lay down in the water hole. Yes. Patty said, see you at retreat number 4.
Same thing, water hole.
Is this one?
My horse stopped at a water puddle today. I tried to push him through, but by keeping him facing it, I tried to pull left and right and move him through when he started to go backwards. Once I stopped, I popped him in his butt with a crop, and he bucked from a standstill and threw me right into the horn and his neck. What could I have done differently? Don't pop him on the butt unless you haven't bent already. You don't want to argue with these horses in a straight line. So when you reach back and you crop them or you spur them and they're in a straight line, it's very easy for them to just toss you forward. As opposed to if you already have him bent first, bend him to the right, smack him on the right cheek. Bend him to the left, smack him on the left cheek or the left flank. He's not going to be able to buck. He's going to move his butt away from that pressure, and then you can redirect him, and that's going to be all the difference in the world. We were just doing a video talk the other night, and somebody sent in a video, and they were pushing the horse, and I saw that horse kind of stuck, and they were trying to get the horse to push forward. And as I was
That was on here. You have short-term memory loss. It was day 1. It was video review.
This is a video review just the other day, and I was just saying, I wouldn't push that horse in a straight line because you're going to get bucked off. And the second I said that, the person got bucked off a moment later, and I had never seen the video. It was a surprise to me. But we don't want to push these horses in a straight line when they're uncomfortable because we can't control them in a straight line. Bucking, running, and rearing happens in a straight line. So whenever we are going to crop them or push them, there's nothing wrong with pushing or cropping your horse to encourage them. But you want to get them off center so that you don't feel like your horse can give you a reprimand. Read it.
How do you teach a horse it's okay to poop on a trail ride? My mare will go 6 hours without pooping while her attitude escalates until she is back to the trailer and will still not poop until loaded. Same for peeing. So a lot of times bodily functions like that are directly related to horses and them being relaxed and them not being relaxed. You'll notice a lot of times when you haul horses, and it has a lot of things to do with gastric and nutrition, and Michael's sister and his mom are so amazing at talking about topics like that. But horses that get uncomfortable, and a lot of times that they're pooping more than they should, or they get nervous, they can have the same thing happen when they get nervous being out and about, or they're not super comfortable being out and about and going through the motions. So one of the things that we do through our program is at the end of the day, we want the horse to feel relaxed and confident, walking and going anywhere on a loose rein. One of the things that Michael talks about a lot are the holy grail of horsemanship is that a horse will, okay, I can do this. A horse can walk on a loose rein no matter what's going on. A horse can stand still no matter what's going on.
That's it.
That's just 2?
Yeah.
Oh, why do I think it was 3? It's just the 2? Are you sure?
Now that you are parents with a small child, do you question your confidence more?
You didn't let me finish the question.
Absolutely.
Pause. Anyhow, the moral of the story is getting the horse relaxed and wanting to drop their head. And that's going to do so many things for you. We had a horse that was on our Africa trail ride going on the safari, and same kind of thing. He was so used to having somebody up in the bridle and holding him that you just would feel like your hands were going to fall off because you're trying to hold this horse back all the time. Just wanted to go into the horse in front of him. And so we taught him mid-ride, as we're doing the safari ride, how to drop his head and relax, to let him go on a loose rein and not just hold him back. And once he figured that out, this was a horse that wouldn't eat while you were on the trail. And it was really important on the African safari that anytime that you canter somewhere and then you stop because there's an animal, you can drop the reins down on their neck and they can eat. Well, this horse was so uptight and never got to feel that release of walking on a loose rein throughout the rest of the trail that he would never eat in between. And by day 2 of me working with him and getting him through that process, he would eat every time that we stopped. So same kind of thing. Just get him relaxed.
That's a good story.
It is a good story. Yeah. It happened.
No, that's what I was saying. That was a good story.
Thanks.
Good job.
Yeah.
Now that you're parents with a small child, do you ever question your confidence more? Absolutely. Whenever you are nothing to lose type of mentality and you're cowboying up and you're riding these problem horses, I'm so glad that I, number one, waited to have a child until I had already kind of mastered my craft. Because so much of my career, when I didn't have the answer, it was just like, I'd rather die than lose, so we're going to figure it out. And you would just hold on. And I'm so glad that I'm past that now. But I have noticed a change in really working the nasties the nasty undesirables.
The horses that you can't even get out of the stall or handle without them trying to kill you.
I'll do it because people pay me to do it, and I need to support my family and support my baby. But it doesn't wake me up out of bed anymore. It doesn't excite me to like that's what I live for.
Just trying to figure out how to fix horses.
Yeah, but that's really what I live for. That's really what I desired. I would go out of my way for it. Like if you had a decent horse and a monster, give me the monster. That's what I'm looking for. And that's really how we figured out so much of this program. So I'm really glad that I waited, extra 10 years, or here in Mississippi, an extra 15 years to have a baby, because that really allowed me to hone in on my craft with the utmost confidence of, hey, I ain't got nothing to lose. Let's go. Let's get it. And that type of reckless abandonment really allowed me to learn the processes and just go forward even when I didn't know. Luckily now I have enough experience and education that I don't really have confidence issues because I will always stop and outthink the horse now. So a lot of situations,
not go mano a
yeah,
mano,
so
not try
a
to...
lot of situations before I would get myself into them because I wouldn't shut down in the moment and just outthink the horse. Now there's just not a situation where I'm not just gonna stop. Okay, you're getting anywhere close to my level, horse. I'm gonna stop and make an adjustment. I'll thank you. I'm gonna stop, make an adjustment. I'll thank you. So that's what keeps my confidence now. Versus before, it was just like, hey, I got nothing to lose. I'm gonna go for it. You got to risk it for the biscuit was my mentality. Now it's more, hey, I'm just gonna be cerebral about my approach. I'm gonna be methodical about my approach, and I'm just gonna systematically break down your resistance until you want to do the thing that I want you to do.
Well, and the other thing is, too, from a confidence perspective for us, is we're very comfortable and used to handling with horses of this caliber and having these problem horses be our niche market. The problem with that is we're used and comfortable to working around horses that want to hurt you. Kids do not know that. Kids are not aware of what distinguishing between the difference between my trick riding horses that you can literally do anything you want to with them, like anything. And then a horse that if you walk past it and get too close, you're going to get kicked and there's a good chance you could lose your life. Like when we have new academy students come in, we have to be really forward when we talk to people when they're interested about our program and going through the steps and trying to figure things out, is when you come here, you have to treat every horse, when you're handling them and you're around them, be aware of the fact that they really can hurt you. And a lot of them have hurt people, and that's why they ended up here in the first place. And so we're not afraid of that. We're not nervous about that. We're willing to work with their issues, but we understand what those windows are to not put ourselves into unnecessary risk. That's another conversation that we're going to be having here, I think 2 or 3 days, is talking about taking unnecessary risks and how to prevent bad things from happening when you can prevent those in the first place. Let's see. I always want to go out and work with my horses after your videos. Well, that's awesome. Don't do it tonight. It's dark. And here it's raining, I'm sure. Let's see. So Barb said, with the new Respect series, it's their groundwork and liberty. I like that more than riding, but would like light riding. So the thing with the Respect series is the first part of it, it's almost half and half. Yeah. It's almost half groundwork, half riding. But the foundation of the riding skills and everything that you're doing to really get the success out of all of the programs that we have in our membership, all the different things, the liberty, the trick training, we always make them go through the Respect series first. If you're not planning to ride, once you get through those first couple steps, then there's more things that you can do later on when we go into that. But our hope is, and we see this oftentimes, we have people that come into the program with the same reason, the same expectations of not really wanting to ride or not really wanting to do a whole lot of that. And once they start going through the steps and they build confidence, those same people end up being our same people that are working on the most recent challenge and the next advanced thing, because they're able to get their confidence up where they really start enjoying riding again. And that's kind of at the end of the day, we want to give you whatever tools you need to enjoy your horse in whatever way. That nobody's going to push you to ride if you don't want to ride. But if you want to do that and you want to do these things with your horse and you want to get into advanced liberty and you want to do trick training and driving and reining and gait work and so many different things, we're here to be a part of that journey with you. Let's see. I tend to tense up when asking for the canter. What do you recommend I do to be more chill and relaxed?
Get in a round pen, let somebody drive the horse for you, and canter longer than a lap. So many times when we're tense cantering, we canter for a whole breath hold. canter until you can't hold your breath anymore, and that forces you to relax. So in the beginning, I swear I was horrible at cantering because I was raised on gaited horses. So for months, on and off, I would have somebody push the horse for me, and I would just canter around the round pen, and long enough that I couldn't hold my breath until I started relaxing.
Too far away.
Until I started relaxing and allowing myself to get comfortable with that.
Let's see.
Another question with our foal raptor. That's a cool name.
Raptor's their little Paso baby.
That's
the cute little pink Paso baby that they've been doing tie time training with.
Cool.
And
I was teaching him lunging with respect. He got it and he passed, but then became super reactive to kissing noises and seems to regress on his respect. I'm worried we moved on in the grades before he was ready. He was 2 months old when we worked this. No big deal. Just go right back and start from the beginning all over again. That's the beautiful thing. If there's ever a question, just go back to the beginning and start putting that foundation in again, and that's how we don't leave any holes behind.
Send us videos,
Need more
Renee.
suggestions to break pace. Drop his head.
Get him soft. If he's still pacing and you're going through the respect series, get him soft.
And get that bend in his body. Pace is a straight line gait, and it's a tense, tight gait. So if we put his head in the dirt, very Western, and then on top of that we get a bend in his body, nothing's impossible, but it's very improbable that he stays pacing.
And send us videos. You have that ability. Send us whatever you can. Is the older spec series going away? No, it's not. So if you already have access to that, you're already in the membership, you're not going to lose anything. So when everything transfers over to this new platform, it'll just say archived respect series. So when that transition over, you'll still be able to find everything. You'll still be able to search through everything, search through all the examples. Our program will never get rid of any videos because we think at the end of the day, all of these things have worked for us or we wouldn't have them. We would not teach them to you. We just keep evolving and finding better things, and we want to continue to share that with you too, because we don't think it's fair if we find an easier way to do something, that's something more simple that gets quicker results. We're going to share that with you immediately and not hold that back from your toolbox. But none of this is going to be, outdated and never going to be used again. You'll be able to go back and see that whenever you'd like to.
I don't have the strength to climb up my gate to teach to come give me a trick. What is a better idea to teach on my steps? All right, guys. So whenever you
don't teach, what is the better idea to teach it on my steps? Don't pull a Fandango, which is Michael's horse, is like the prime example of why.
She's asking what a better idea.
Yeah.
So a picnic table, the bed of your truck, something solid. And the reason you want something solid, steps, like real steps, like maybe you have a porch. Or steps up to the back of your house. Use something solid simply so your horse can't bump into you.
That's what Charlene said. She said I use the back of my truck.
Just something solid is what we're saying.
Let's see. Charlene also said, I've been that person scared to ask questions at first. Do not be. I promise you.
This is a safe place.
I promise you that we will never be that environment or that group of people that you cannot feel confident doing that. And if you need somebody else to ask the question for you in the beginning, have one of your friends ask the questions for you. But one of the things that I really pride ourselves on in our communities and our Facebook group is I do not allow people to be negative, and I don't allow people to be bullies or say anything or call anybody out or be nasty because I have a zero tolerance policy. So if you don't want to be supportive and be happy for the people around you and happy that they're trying to find success with their horse and support that journey, then I have no reason to have you in the group. Sorry, we don't. You can't pay me enough money for somebody to be hateful. Not about that life. Sorry.
Peace, love, and positivity. Moving on. Can I truly train a foal by myself to become a rideable horse with just the respect? Absolutely.
How many people have we had that have colt started through our program?
So many horses that are not colt starters whatsoever have become colt starters because they've just gone through the series, and by the time that it's time to ride, the horse is so forgiving and so soft and so easy that they can ride no problem. So it's absolutely you can.
We've had several people. I'm trying to think. Kim Schaefer, and I'm trying to think of that whole group. There were some halflingers that were started with our program. Hold on. You're scrolling through things that matter. Stop it. You're not allowed to touch the remote. You're ruined from the remote. Do you have the Liberty course online already? We have our Liberty series, which is in our membership already. So that's already been on there. People have had access to that. We have a couple examples for right now until you get the option to get back into our membership on the back end of the course, which we'll talk about tomorrow. You can actually find some of our videos are on YouTube. I think we have at least 2 videos of Liberty with working with Tarzan, my Mustang makeover horse. So that's kind of something that can hold you over in the meantime. Do you have a technique to train a horse not to pull back? So one thing that we do, we get a ton of horses in, and honestly, this is like one of the biggest secrets to natural horsemanship and horses and training in general. If people would train their horses how to tie, we would not have a job. Like, we really wouldn't. How many horses? We would
lose a lot of work. Yes.
How many horses, their biggest issue is they don't give to pressure. And so we're a firm believer in it is much safer to teach your horse how to stand tied properly than it is to beat around the bush and have your horse get in a situation where they haven't learned to give to pressure. We've had people that have called us. We had a phone call one time of a lady who had a horse sit back and rip the entire side panel off of their trailer. It ran through a fairgrounds and ended up killing like 6 horses. So something super crazy that you wouldn't even think about that came back from just not teaching that horse from the very beginning how to not sit back, how to stand quiet, and tie time, which we talk about a lot. In our big arena, we just want to make sure that we set the horses up for success. We want to make sure that if they are going to do anything stupid, which a lot of them will try, especially if they've had success, if they've broken a halter, if they've broken whatever tie ring they were hooked to, if they broke a lead rope, all the horses that come here are tied in our natural horsemanship halter, and they're tied in our lead rope there's no metal on anything. Everything is not breakable. And if you can break it, please give me a call because you have bigger problems than a broken halter. And the reason for that is we don't want the horses to find success. A lot of horses get hurt because they sit back and they're tied in something that can break or it can give, and they flip over backwards and they have a really serious injury. So when we're teaching horses how to tie and how to not pull back, we have our big round pen, which you'll see a video of tomorrow. It has big tall walls, it's a covered round pen, and we have a big post that's set in concrete, and our round pen walls are flat. So there's no way that the horse can get a leg hung, they can, get a foot through the fence, anything like that. And we have deep footing in there. So we have footing to where if the horse is the first time that they're learning to be tied, if they try to sit back, or some of them that'll even just like lean back far enough that their legs touch the ground or their hocks can touch the ground, we do so in an environment where they're not going to mess themselves up, not hurt themselves, and figure out really quickly, okay, if I step forward, everything's okay. And for us, we found that that's the biggest success, is just putting them in an environment where whatever they're going to do, whatever hissy fit they're going to throw, they're in an environment where we can kind of control that they're not going to get themselves in a bad situation and have another bad experience off of that. After they've done that successfully in our round pen and have had tie time in our round pen, then we can start moving to other locations around the farm. We can start tying in places that are a little bit more, risky for horses that haven't been through that. And so they go from tying in the round pen to tying along the side of the arena to tying under a tree to tying to a tree to tying to the H post, tacking up on the concrete, all these different things. But we want to really start from the beginning and set that horse up for success and not give them a chance to hurt themselves, keep finding positive experiences, and then keep building off of that.
What does Robert say there?
Stop it. You're not allowed to.
Right there.
I know, I'm just trying to make sure. You skipped questions, see?
I didn't skip
yes,
questions.
You did.
I already answered the questions that we skipped.
Did you answer this one?
Yes.
Yeah?
It will be.
Yes, it'll be recorded. So what we'll do is it'll be on YouTube. Once the live video is finished, it'll stay on YouTube, and then we'll send you a replay of that as well, just like we've been doing in the emails. Let's see. I can't find last night's replay. Please help. So if you go into the Confidence Coaching Facebook group and you go to guides, there's a little section up at the top that says guides. Look for day 2. The replay is there. Check your email, the same email that you signed up for the Confidence Coaching Week. Every day I'm sending you a little letter, and in that letter there's a link for the replay. If you still cannot find that in your email, please let me know, and I would be happy to send you that link directly. They're also located, I've been uploading them after the fact onto our YouTube channel. So if you go to the Horse Guru Michael Gascon on YouTube and look at the very top, you're going to see day 1, day 2, in the morning, day 3 will be on there as well. Kelsey has a Spanish poop song. Robert, that's not funny. It's not funny. So
it's a little funny.
So Michael, early on in our relationship, Michael is bilingual, and everybody at the farm for the most part is bilingual besides for me. And although I'm doing Duolingo, I'm not very good at all the things. So at the time, early on in our relationship, I was working on this trick called the Spanish web. So it is an aerial arts. It's this really long rope. You crawl up it, you climb up it, and you do all kinds of acrobatics off this rope. And I was up there, and I was just singing the beat to the song. I was just singing the song, and I didn't know at the time what that song meant. I would just hear Michael sing it in the morning as he was going through the barn, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of catchy. That's kind of catchy. Maria's on here. She's definitely our one of our Spanish-speaking. She catches on to all the things. So for those of you that know Spanish, I walked around the farm and was doing my dance routine to the song Tengo que cagar, tengo que cagar, which means I need to take a poop. So
Spanish poop song.
So the problem with that is I did not know. So Michael let me sing it in front of his family. He let me sing it in front of his dad. He let me sing it in front of our Colombian dog trainer and everybody around me besides me who knew what was going on. It's all fine.
Great song.
She stole it from Michael, but yeah, there we go. There's the poop song. Yeah. Laugh it off, everybody. It's fine. Let's see. Enjoy riding horses. Charlene said we're the best. You all are going to be so bored with my colt in November. Hey, you make our life easy. Let's see. I've seen Michael answer the same question 100 times, and he's always as excited and answers it like the first time. Never be afraid to ask a question here. They mean what they say.
Thank you. Thank you, good sir.
Okay. Oh, Carrie, you had to ask about Tarzan. Tarzan is amazing.
He is amazing because he's a rope horse.
Yeah, so Tarzan is my Extreme Mustang Makeover horse that I filled out because I adopted him. I wasn't willing to risk having somebody buy him out from underneath me. So he's actually going to be one of the topics, and I need to make sure I put him back on here. So we're going to give you kind of an overview of how the Respect series not only works for horses that are under saddle, but works for colt starts and works for feral horses. So I'm going to share some highlights. So in the membership, I documented the first 55 days with him and every single thing that I did with him for those 55 days. And I put it in a bullet list, how much time he got, what he worked on, what he learned that day, going through the Respect series. So what we'll do, I'm not going to take you all through that entire program again, but I am going to show you some highlights to show you that I went and picked up a Mustang out of the wild in Oregon, and I drove all the way up there to get him. I got attached to him the second I put him in the trailer. I got home and got him settled in, and the next day he had his first ride because he went through the Respect series. He answered the questions. So he went from untouched, unhandled to walk, trot, canter, over obstacles, under saddle, in a halter, on a loose rein in the first day. And within the first 3 days, we were shooting guns off of him. We were doing it, not explosives, but we had like pyro and we had smoke bombs. We were shooting.
It was your first Mustang that you started.
It was my first Mustang. It was my first time touching a feral horse that had never been around people, and it was just absolutely incredible. So I will share some of those moments with you, share some of those highlights and some of those things just to I love showing people who haven't been a part of our program, to show you how crazy this program can be if you're willing to give it a try and implement it into your life with horses. And if I could do the same thing with a feral horse who's never been around people, and we're afraid to go out and go on a trail and do things because we're afraid of a plastic bag or a deer, I'm going to show you what all this horse learned in the time. So more of the story. He's Michael's rope horse.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay. He's living his best life. He lives in one of our pastures that has a bunch of trees because he likes to sunburn. Let's see.
I'm on the wait list for the membership.
I'm on the wait list for the membership. How does that work? I can't wait to get full access. So tomorrow we're going to go through, for some reason I can't get the screen share to work on here, but I'll make sure that I have it in the video. We're going to go through what the success path looks, so what the progression of things are. And this makes me so excited to finally be able to share it with you, because what I found is when we first started this, we wanted to help as many people as possible. And at the time, the thing to do was start a membership, get all these videos together, and just try to help people. And it wasn't until we had started the membership in 2018. In 2020, that's when we decided to do this horse help challenge to help as many people as possible. And that was kind of like the turning point in our digital services and what we can do to help everybody find success. And I started, while the challenge was going on, I bought into this course for membership owners, for people who wanted to create a membership and be successful with that. And I really got in depth. I went through the course, I went through the program, I ended up buying into the mastermind that he had to really work on trying to figure out, okay, what can I do to make this program as successful as possible? How can I help so many people find results with their horses with us being virtual? Something that people don't really think about from a horse training perspective, and be there to handhold and share as much of ourselves as we can with everybody, to where you really feel like you're getting the most bang for your buck out of our program. And then going from that, I did a program called Community Cultivated, where I figured out, okay, now that I have people in the membership, how do I really curate that relationship of them being together and working inside this community, and not just feeling like we can help them, but feeling like our members that are in there can help each other and support each other. And if I'm not the quickest to get to the answer, to get the question, they help them. And if they don't have the answer, they reach out to me and say, hey, did you see this question? And it really let me figure out how to make that network work together. So during this time, I've been taking courses upon courses upon courses. I eventually, here in the next 6 months, will be out again working horses with Michael, doing videos, creating content. And that's because we've spent so much time putting this program together. And the number one thing that I took from all of these courses and all these classes is people get content overwhelmed. And at the time, currently, our membership has 700 plus videos in it. And people, even though the Respect series is there, they get done with the Respect series and they're kind of like, well, where do I go now? What do? I have all these options. Do I pick an option? And then nobody picks an option, right? Nobody picks a path because there's so many things out there. You go to college.
Netflix.
Yes. You little commercial scroller. Watches all the 2-minute trailers and then moves to the next one and never picks a movie. Yes, don't be Michael. Do not be Michael. So what I learned is take the foundation. What is 20% of the content that's going to give you 80% of the results? That is the Respect series, and that is now the Horse Help course. We're going to do it together. We're going to make sure that you've gotten the steps and you've figured everything out and you're where you need to be. And then I'm going to give you the option to join us for the Horse Help College. You don't have to. You can go straight into the membership after that, which we'll talk about. Or I can give you another 6 weeks of hand-holding and say, okay, these are the next grade levels. Send me your videos. Go through this process. Send me your Q&As. What are you stuck on? Let's see your video. And then after that, you're going to be so set up for success with your horse. You can go do anything that you want to do. Now what's the next direction? Do you want to do Liberty? Do you want to do trick training? Do you want to teach your horse how to pull a cart? Do you want to mounted shoot? Do you want to go do reining? Do you want to learn a trick ride? The possibilities are endless. So that's going to be the progression going forward. Then you have access to all the things after I know for sure you found success and you're not just sitting there in all these videos and not knowing what direction to go to. So let's see, how does that work? Can't wait. I'm going to let you know exactly when you can get into the membership again. And it'll be on this new platform, which gives you the ability to search things. So if you feel like you want to just type in the word buck or rear or bolt, it's going to show you every video in the entire program. Are you animating me the whole time?
No, I'm sure? Hyping you up.
Are you hyping me up? Have you been miming me this whole time?
No.
I see you out of the corner of my eye, but I feel like you're just being Michael.
No, is there a search bar that we could just put anything in?
Yes.
Awesome. It's exciting, babe.
Are you just laughing at the fact that I'm nerding out about this?
No.
I've only been excited about this for for those of you that have been in the membership, you have seen me struggle, not only with technology issues, obviously that's still a thing, just disregard that. You have seen me have to get fiber internet, dedicated fiber internet lines ran out to this farm in the middle of nowhere so we can have this conversation today. 3 months ago, I guess May is when this finally got hooked up. 2-year process to get fiber out to the farm where I can finally have this conversation with you. Before we get so frustrated, we get kicked on and off the internet. This would be a six section. We'd hope that you'd have to get back on with us, and it was just a train wreck. I've been through membership platforms and websites and holy train wreck of things and unbelievable. But to get to this moment and to finally feel like we can share this with you guys and share this whole experience is just so excited, and I'm ready to get back out on horses.
My horse doesn't pull back.
You skipped again. Hey, this is on our list. So mounted archery is not currently in our membership, but it is on our list to get a mentor to go learn something new, because Michael's man shed is going to have an archery range in it. So we're going to get better at it from the ground, and then we're going to figure out how to put the two and the two together for you. And then all the training horses are going to be archery horses. That, unfortunately, when Michael goes and learns a new discipline, I mean, fortunately, unfortunately, whatever training horses are in for training, whenever he goes to learn something new, they're going to do that. So all of the horses rope. Every training horse, even if they don't want to rope, they're roping horses. How long do you tie when starting? So it depends on the horse, depends on the situation, depends on how much time you have. It can vary. So we'll go back and I'll kind of show you, I'll do a little flashback of what we did with Tarzan, but a lot of it's going to come down to what does your schedule look like? How much time do you have? A lot of us don't have time in the beginning. If it's hot out or you're going to tie for extended periods of time, we want to make sure that they've really learned how to give to pressure and tie safely before we start leaving them for super long periods of time, because we want to be able to give them the option to have free choice hay and water. So we actually have tie stalls when the horses get to where they're getting tied, for 4 or 5 hours a day, especially ones that like to paw, like to pace. We're going to put them in a situation.
Just answer her next question.
What is the next question?
Her horse doesn't pull back, likes to paw.
My horse doesn't pull back when tied, but paws, including in the trailer. How do I get her to stop pawing when tied? Tie time. Sorry.
Tie time. More tie time.
More tie time. Yeah.
Pawing is just impatience.
Yeah.
The way that you build your pacing is just like a muscle. You work on it.
Yeah.
Some of you go,
and put them somewhere that you're not afraid for them to dig a hole, because they're going to, the first couple tie time sessions, they're going to put a hole. Yeah. Let's see. Robert, you're like a hater tonight. Pick on somebody else. Oh, look at Maria. Yeah, Maria. Yeah. It's fine. Michael is jealous of Tarzan. Yes, he is. Are you jealous of him? Because I love him so much. He's so cute. I love you too, but he's like cute and fluffy and white, and he has the little floppy lips. For any of you that have the floppy lipped horses, they're the best. Okay. Da, 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 da.
You read.
Ideas for an older rider who has had multiple injuries lately and now has an auto-freeze response and delayed responses when horses start to bolt or react, which isn't often as a rider is older too and mostly respectful, as horse is older too and mostly respectful. But on trail, there's sudden midlife, etc. It's more rider than horse. So at the end of the day, the horse safety checklist, going through the respect series, you train yourself what to do in those positions, in those situations, in the comfort of wherever you're doing that. So that's the cool thing about working through the series and doing so in a confined area, in a round pen, and a round pen, a small arena, a big arena. As long as you're enclosed, when you're first getting your confidence up, you're creating these environments when it's on your term, right? So out and about in the trail, doing all these different things, you can't control when these things happen, but you can scare the bejesus out of your horse in a controlled environment because you're the one who did it. And you work through those situations and you build your confidence up and you build your confidence in your horse because you're working through these things and you're spooking them to see their reaction. And you're showing them something bigger and scarier and you're adding more energy to see their reaction, curve that reaction, and teach them the correct answer to that response. And building that confidence together is what's going to make you feel more comfortable and confident going out and having that happen on the trail, because you've already gone from the lead rope to the flag stick to the tarp to the jingly bells to the can bag to the gun to the whatever you're scaring your horse with. Tarzan, I don't know for sure the exact day, but from got him down home out of the wild, rode him on day 1. I rode him in an inflatable unicorn costume on day 3 or 4, I believe. I'll double check those numbers, but an inflatable unicorn costume on a horse that was straight out of the wild. So you're going to go through this system and bring in new things you're going to try to scare your horse for fun, because they're going to get to a point where they're just going to look at you like, that's the best that you got. You got nothing better than that to try and scare me. And then you're going to start ordering things off Amazon. You're going to like, I'm going to find something that makes this horse uncomfortable. And eventually you're going to get to a point where you just run out of ideas, which is great. Like, isn't that like a great problem to have? Are you going to have any Saturday and or Sunday 1 or 2 day clinics? So we were just talking about this earlier. We've kind of changed we do have some, and they're mostly states that we haven't been to, new places, new countries. We might have some here or there. The majority of our stuff has been the retreats, just because that's allowing us to raise our daughter and stay close to home. And really, we like our bed like a lot. I know that's selfish, and we haven't really done a lot of selfish things in our business, but the retreats are fun because everybody comes to us. And we party, we have fun, we ride horses, we do all these crazy things, and then we get to go to bed at night in our own bed with our kid. So we will probably have more of those going forward. But again, we went from doing over 30 of those a year to switching to doing the 12 retreats and then traveling here and there and not being on the road quite so much. Sometimes when we're doing an expo, like this spring, we did an expo in Minnesota. We did the 3 days there, and then we took a day off. We had a 2-day clinic in Minnesota as well. Or is it Wisconsin? It might have been Wisconsin. In Wisconsin. And then we had the Wisconsin Expo after. So there might definitely be some possibilities for that once we have a better idea of what our expo schedule is for next year, that we can schedule 2-day clinics in with that as well.
Show. I had it already there.
Oh, where'd it go?
Right.
You're not allowed to touch. Will the new Respect series be available to current members, or is it a new purchase? So it is going to end up in the membership. You will get access to that as part of the membership. But the course, going through it live, if you decide that you want to do that and go through it with us now, we're going to go through it now, but you're going to get forever access to that. So that's the difference between that and the membership. And in the membership, you won't get forever access to it unless you keep your membership going, but you'll still be able to access that. So if you want to wait till we've gone through the course and it gets added over, it'll get added to the course or get added to the membership whenever we move the entire membership over to that platform. So we're kind of using the Horse Help course as a trial run. That's why it's going to be cheaper than it's ever going to be whenever we go through it this first time, because I need you guys to tell me what you want to see different, what you want me to fix. And I feel a lot more comfortable making that transition over to the new site with a set of videos and a group of people that will walk me through that process and make sure that we're good to go before I transfer 700 videos over at one time and work through the tech issues that way. And this will be a live course that you're going to have access to for the first 6 weeks, going through everything, submitting in videos. As we do Q&As, video review sessions, that all gets added into the course. So one of the questions is, if I join in later, am I going to have access to everything? Yes, you will. And I want you to know that if you go through the course and you watch all the replays and your question didn't get answered and you still have a question or you're still struggling with something, we're here. We still do video reviews every week because of the membership. So you can send something in and I will put that back into the course to make sure that the next person can still get their question answered, because that's all searchable. So keep in mind, we're here for you. We're not just going to drop off the face of the earth after 6 weeks. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here for a long time.
We have made it to the end, the last question, and boom.
I have a feral pony from a hard rescue. She still won't let me touch her after a long time of different strategies. Any ideas? She's not aggressive. She has touched me once, lets me touch her while I hold her feed pan, but... There's another question. Whoop, whoop. You take this one, I'll take the next one.
My favorite thing.
No. You know.
What?
No.
They said they tried many different strategies.
Couple different options here.
Catch her, rope her, pull her inward, show her how to pressure and release from the rope. I love to do that whenever a horse doesn't give me any other options. You can absolutely approach her with Liberty.
Liberty's a good thing.
A lot of Mustangs.
If you're not comfortable roping. So this is the big thing about roping. Roping works successfully if you know what you're doing and you know how to give releases.
So my wonderful
I'm not
wife,
a good person to rope.
So my wonderful wife, if we had the same pony to work, she would do Liberty, I would rope it. Both of us are going to get the same answer because both of us are going to
I'm just going to take a lot longer.
Yes, she's just going to take forever.
And the only reason for that is I'm not comfortable nor am I good at roping, and I don't want to give the wrong release or make the horse have a bad experience because it took me 487 times to rope them, whereas Michael can throw one loop, get the pressure and release, and already start working on that. We've also had some feral horses in the past that were aggressive that if you would get them roped, they would just try to attack you with no pressure on them. So there's different methods and different things that you can do, but if you feel more comfortable with it, using Liberty as a way to draw them in, because you can still teach them pressure and release in the beginning, but it is going to take a lot longer.
A lot.
Another thing you can do too, like what we did with Tarzan, and this is going to sound really crazy, but with Tarzan, I wanted him to have the best experience possible. I did not want Michael to work him because I wanted to work him all the way through the process myself, and I knew that I could not rope him and him have a good experience. So at the sorting facilities and the different processing facilities for the Mustangs, they have a chute, and when they bring them through the chute to do all of their health care, they can put a halter on for you with a drag line, and for me, they tie that drag line up in their mane to get you home through the traveling, so they're not stepping on the rope the whole time. And then when you get home, that knot lets itself out, and now you have a lead rope that you can get a hold of. So for me, it was much quicker to make success with my horse because he already had that halter and lead rope on. There's something to be said for the touch barrier, and when you can have that conversation with your horse and show them right away, instead of them having hours and days and weeks of not being able to make contact with them, if you can have that one advantage of being able to bring them back to you and let them figure out without them just being able to bust around the round pen and go wherever they want, you can have that conversation and bridge that gap and let them realize that you come in peace a lot quicker than having so much of the mystery of them not knowing what you are and what's going to happen. So that's what I did personally for my Mustang. I found extreme success with that. I'll share my first touch moments with you to show you that did not make it a traumatic process, that there wasn't anything. Before I rode him the first time, I was able to groom him, braid his mane, get him comfortable, get him confident in me and my leadership, and kind of share that experience with you guys. So I have to brag about my pony a little bit, but if you can do that, that's going to be your fastest way to find results with your horse, is if you can get somebody who can rope, make it a good process and get a halter on, or find somebody that you can actually take them through a chute, get a halter on them, and then make those experiences more positive. Liberty's going to take a little bit longer, but if you're already this far in, there's no downside to trying it and going through the process. I think my question was missed yesterday. My horse is bossy and can be aggressive towards other horses while in a saddle and in group lessons. He thinks he has to be the leader. I am constantly having to manage him and trying to anticipate his actions so I can stop it. What would you do to stop this behavior? So again, it's going to sound ridiculous. The respect series, feel like we're just a broken record. So some of my favorite exercises for a horse that's aggressive is going to be your spirals, your one-sided flexing in motion, and doing something to get their attention back on you. So figure out what that horse doesn't enjoy doing, and anytime that they show that reaction and they want to do something to another horse, put them to work. And then they realize, okay, give them another chance. Give them a chance to fail, and then fix it. Give them a chance to fail and then fix it. And for us, when we have horses that are horse aggressive, we do a lot of ponying and we do a lot of soccer games. So those are our two big things, is when you play soccer and that horse that doesn't like horses starts getting competitive because it's chasing a soccer ball, a lot of times you can weed out the issues that you're having because that horse focuses so much on what you're doing that they forget about all these horses that are bumping into it and trying to steal the ball and making the ugly face, but you're keeping them so engaged in what they're doing. We had a horse on the trail ride through the safari. So we're cantering, keeping the line. Everybody's in a line. We're cantering together. And Michael rides up behind me like he's going to pass me. And I don't know this horse that I'm on, and I didn't feel it, and I should have felt it because I'm used to dealing with horses. But we didn't get a chance to take these horses through the respect series before we hop on, which never happens. When is the last time, and we told the lady, the couple that we were there with, that I don't remember the last time that Michael's ever hopped on a horse and not taken it through the respect series. So we trusted them a lot to just go through the process.
So what happened? Tell them what happened.
You got too close to me. My horse kicked out and got you.
Oh, it was my fault.
It was your fault. So we worked on that.
I rode the newest. Whenever you're in traffic, you're only in charge of one vehicle, and that's yours. Her vehicle crashed with mine. My vehicle was just fine.
So this horse that I got to ride was going to be the newest. So he's the newest prospect to go out and start being on the trail ride. So we're trying to push all the buttons, do all the things, see what issues we have to fix, then we're going to fix them at the clinic. So that was one thing that we fixed because we still had a couple days left of safari riding. Is I figured out how I got the horse working, going through some steps and flexing in motion, and really getting him to understand the reins are something that's not immobile. You can't just move that when you want to. So anytime the horses would come around me, I would put him to work and really engage him and make him work. And then he wanted nothing to do with the other horses. He didn't care that they were passing him, getting close to him, didn't bother him because he was so actively engaged in his work.
The martini, the last question of the evening.
So there will be the traditional membership and the new one also, right? So everybody who's currently in the membership, you're the same membership that everybody will come into later. Does that make sense? So Team MG is just going to be renamed the Horse Help Club. It's going to be the same structure, going through the same process, but instead of people just being able to get dumped into the membership and us having the little section where they have to go to the respect series and then get into everything else, everybody new who's coming into the membership will have to go through the course first to get into the membership. That way I can see that you found success, you found the value in the program, and you're not overwhelmed. You got to take those 6 weeks, go through those steps. Now, if you come in after we go through this course live, there's going to be an option to go through the course when we're not going through it live like we are now. You'll be able to go through things a little bit faster. You'll have access to all the videos. So if it takes you one session to go through all of the grade levels, then that's fantastic. But for everybody going through it this first time, every week, we're going to make sure that you're ready to move on, that you've got this and you're finding success. So there's no excuses. We're going to hold you to the fire. We want to make sure that you can go through this program and really find the most success possible.
Exciting.
Look, we made it.
Made it to the end, guys.
If I missed anybody, we still have really good, we still have 50% retention. Look at that. If for any reason that I missed your questions and they were not in these comments, if I missed them from the last time, please shoot me an email.
Because we're here to help, guys. We just want to help you.
gmail.com. And we will see you tomorrow. Again, all of the instructions for tomorrow will be coming. If there's anything that's not clear, please let me know and we will clarify that for you. And we hope you all have a fantastic evening and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Thank you and good night.